This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Welcome to DBL. It's Tuesday, November 9th. I'm Tori here with Jeff and Al. All right. Good to see you, gentlemen.
Good to see you as well.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Hello. Hello to you. All right, we're continuing to follow this story again. I got the crowd surge at Houston concert that left 8 people dead and dozens more injured. One of the victims, 21-year-old Axel Acosta, died because the weight of the crowd literally suffocated him. His father speaking out about his death. Take a look.
We're trying to make things change in this type of events. Today is me. I lost my son. It could be you, it could be you. It's not the first time that he's been in a big event. You can go to Disneyland and have fun. You can go to a baseball game and have fun because they have the right security.
He's joined at least one of 18 lawsuits against rapper Travis Scott and headlined the festival along with the organizers of the event. Now, the FBI has launched a criminal investigation, and some are saying Scott should have paused the show. Here's what the Houston fire chief told the Today Show. Take a look.
We all have a responsibility. Everybody in that at that event has a responsibility, starting from the artist on down. The artist, if he notices something that's going on, he can certainly pause that performance, turn on the lights, and said, "Hey, we're not going to continue until this thing is resolved."
Jeff, I hadn't gotten your take on this. What do you think?
You know, yesterday I was kind of up in the air where I stand. Al made some good points. Is it the artist's responsibility? That's what security's for. He made some good points. But looking back now, because it's on every channel and you see the video, if I saw maybe some lights in the audience and I was up there performing, I'm not an artist by any means, but I might say, "Hey, is everything okay over there?" and get like a thumbs up from security.
Right.
And if I got that thumbs up, I would continue to perform, right? So again, it goes back to who bears responsibility for this. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
Right. Yeah, Jeff, and I think that's what they're counting on, is that you're not a lawyer. And when I say it's so interesting that FBI is so quick to name Travis Scott, a name that everybody knows, as a person of interest. And it's like, hey, I know that the FBI is really on top of it. Did they figure out who's behind that building in Miami falling down? I guess there's no celebrity to attach a name to, so they just let that kind of go. I haven't heard anything from that, and we're a daily news show. It's so interesting how we find a target, and now it's interesting to the public. I have been to countless nightclubs, where they've been closed because the fire marshal comes in and goes, "We're over capacity." So where was that person now? Was it up to the guy in the basement running his music through his speakers? Should he have stopped it, or did the fire department show up because that's their job? So at what point does it cease to be their job is my question.
I really disagree with you, and I really respect you because you're an artist, and I know what you would do if you saw something in the audience. And to be very fair, Travis stopped several times to say, "Hands up in the air, are we okay? Hey, someone fainted." So he did stop. He just continued to go, even though people were sort of screaming, so it's hard to know. But I do think he bears some responsibility, and I know he's a celebrity, but that's because he happened to be headlining. We don't know about the Miami guy because it's Joe Smith. Travis Scott had the microphone. He had the ability to stop the sound and to control the area. And several people say he saw what was going on and didn't. It stinks that he's a celebrity, but he's responsible in some parts, along with Live Nation, security. I agree that the venue.
What would you give the percentage of the chance of another riot breaking out if the music stopped, Jeff, and people got upset? We've seen what happens when they stop concerts, or like, oh, this band won't be here because they got stuck at the airport. People also riot out of anger.
But I'd rather stop what's already people drowning in each other than worry about what might happen. There was an ambulance cutting through the crowd, couldn't get to people doing CPR 50 feet from Travis.
But why doesn't the ambulance have a clear path? Is that also Travis Scott's fault?
No, I agree.
It's just so interesting that I think it's too easy to be like, yeah, the rich guy did it.
Dude, he had the mic.
There are people that you hire to do this.
I know, but you need the loudest voice. He's been arrested twice for inciting a riot for 2 different concerts. This is his act. I want you to go through the barricades. I want you to rip, and I'm not trying to rip on Travis Scott.
there's
he's
all punk music should be punk rock is based on ripping things apart.
True, I hear
so
you.
What are we doing here? Is it good? Is it going to be everybody? From now on, is it anybody that says any message?
8 people didn't die at punk rock concerts. He encouraged.
People died at a 2004 Damage Plan concert. People have died at concerts
I agree,
before.
but he tweeted and then deleted, Travis Scott, we're going to let the wild ones in. We're already at capacity. Some negligence. This guy has a 9-year-old who shouldn't have brought a 9-year-old. He's suing. The 9-year-old's in a medical coma. I agree the 9-year-old shouldn't have gone to the concert. But at some point, you don't see Travis Scott having any responsibility as being in control?
No, that's not his job. You hire people to do that.
Okay.
Period.
Yeah, I haven't seen all the videos of him saying, is everything cool? And then saying,
I've seen
yes,
several,
it is.
yes.
So again, not to take sides or say who's right or responsible.
Yeah.
No, I think you guys both make good points.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, if as an artist, again, I'm not an artist, but there's a lot of things you have to do during a show, right? There's choreography, there's places you have to be, there's words that you have to remember, there's pyrotechnics that you have to get out of the way from. If I'm doing a show and someone's like, it's all good, and I'm seeing an ambulance, and I'm like, it's all good? Yeah, buddy, it's all good. Okay. Now does the responsibility fall on that person that gave me the thumbs up? Where's the chain of responsibility, and how much were they telling him it's all good?
And that's what's opaque, Jeff, and that's why I just thought it was very bad that the police chief came out and just said Travis Scott without saying there's an investigation going on.
You think that was almost defamation in terms of just
I just think it's really interesting. I've been on it since that cop in Atlanta came out, and when that monster shot those 8 Asian folks down there in Atlanta, and the cop comes out and says, oh, he was having a bad day, and he saw a place that was having illicit sex, so he just eliminated the problem. I was like, that's the most unprofessional. And I just noticed how they're tilting the narrative to the public as it's coming out.
You need to be discerning, but I also think, and really strongly disagree with you, all due respect, that Travis Scott has an enormous amount of responsibility and might be criminally held liable if the barriers weren't put up or if he requested people to crash the barriers, which he's done in the past and been arrested for.
I'm just saying, pretty soon they're going to, because
But that's a pattern now. Do you agree?
No, I don't think it's a pattern.
2 times you've been arrested.
Oh, well, so what about Limp Bizkit? They do the same thing. Tear it up. Hey, I know you're an angry white guy in the suburbs. Let's rip up the house and go do stuff. And he made millions. Because there's a lot of people that feel like that. You can't say that this music is telling people to do things. That's the way they went after rock and roll. That's the way they went after hip hop.
Again, you're taking that out of. I'm not saying the words of rock and roll, the punk, Rage Against the Machine. I'm all for that.
You're saying he tweeted those are words.
I agree, but I think that the actual safety of the concert is in question, where it wasn't. People didn't die at a Limp Bizkit concert. We've seen A$AP Rocky stop a concert and say, girls are on the floor, stop it. Adele stopped someone who fainted. There's countless times someone stopped. He did stop, but then he kept going when it was very clear to other people that there were people clearly in trouble. And to me, he holds responsibility because he held that mic.
Unless he was taking tickets, Jeff, I don't see how it's his responsibility who's in this venue and how they're positioned in there. His job is not to orchestrate 50,000 people. There's somebody that feeds their family, puts their kids through college, because that's what they do. They say, I take large crowds and I make sure everybody's safe. That's not Travis Scott's job. Travis Scott's job is to get up there and sing Goosebumps. And that's his job, and that's where it ends.
I completely disagree. I think he's also in charge.
Well, then don't pay the other people then.
Well, I think it all comes together. That's where they're all being sued.
Uh-oh, our executive producer's standing here.
Oh,
great.
I think we're running in circles a bit. Yeah. A bit. But yeah, good conversation.
Coming up on DBL. Oh, that was it? All right, our bad. Sorry, y'all. Kathy Hilton, she stopped by DBL to give a preview of Paris's wedding day. She also spilled a little Real Housewives tea. And Dr. Kohli joins us live to answer all your medical questions. That's coming up next.
Hey.
Closed captioning provided by
Okay.
Yeah, they said stay here though, and I
Yo, buddy.
Looks like I think we solved the Travis Scott thing. I don't like when law enforcement is saying,
I know what you're saying.
I don't like that.
I totally know what you're saying. It's like, it's easy. Who's the target? Who has the most money?
Right.
Let's
go after that person. You know what it does? It lets the people that really messed up off the hook. Like if, let's say, if The Rock had sponsored
harder.
that,
And I won't get
hotel,
mad.
I mean
Tell them
that building that fell in Miami. he's a recognizable face, but like he didn't build it. He didn't avoid the building codes. It's just like easy to go after the person you know, and I think it sets a dangerous precedent.
Yeah, and I wish there was more. And again, there might be a criminal investigation just to say if someone's telling you in your ear, keep going.
It felt too much.
Right.
I thought we had too much time.
You're assuming everything's
I think I
fine
didn't know
and
the
under
time.
control.
Right.
You're not. I don't think
No, I agree,
Travis
but I
Scott
can make it
ever
better.
thought, because his apology seems sincere. He's trying his best. You can't,
Covering the funeral costs,
you can't rectify that situation, but he's trying. He's covering all the funeral
He's
costs.
refunding
He
all the
canceled He's refunding all of it, and he's canceling his upcoming concert, which is 100,000 tickets were sold, and they're $300 a pop.
Yeah. Oh,
So
no,
he's canceling that.
Okay, and let me ask you
And
this,
I'm not saying that's he's trying to
Yes,
take
of
responsibility.
course.
I don't think he thought anyone was going to be killed
I agree.
by any means.
But he's not. I don't think, by the way, Travis Scott has malice intent in this. But he does hold responsibility
But
with
if
gross
someone told
negligence.
him, again, we have to go back to that. Really great. If you go back,
Good.
yeah, it was really good. That's why I didn't want to get involved. You guys were going good. But then the third time, Tori goes, I disagree. I was like,
I didn't know how much time we had.
that's. I didn't even see you, and I was like, I think.
I'm trying to learn guys how
What's
to
up, Doc?
orchestrate and conduct an orchestra, and I didn't know how much time I had, and I want them in my ear to be like, shut up,
I'm more of a
Tori,
knuckle
move
guy.
on. Thanks, Sierra. You don't have to nod. You don't have to nod.
I'm more of a knuckle guy.
Welcome back to DBL. We are so glad to have us with us.
Hey, no problem. I'm glad I'm here.
And you stumbled right over Tori's mess up too.
Yeah, you covered. I messed
saved
up
her.
and you
You saved
covered.
her.
You see me.
I'm so
I
glad
appreciate
you're
it.
us with us.
Let's take two. Welcome back to DBL. We're so glad to have you back with us, Dr. Goldman. Take three.
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I'm just excited to see you. All right, we got some viewers' questions. Let's hand it off to you guys. First up, we want to get your take on Aaron Rodgers, though. He recently revealed the reasons he didn't get vaccinated, so we want to know your take on someone of his stature speaking what many say is misinformation. Talk to us.
You know, I think I'm speaking for the entire scientific community when I say at this point in the pandemic, it's people like Aaron Rodgers that are preventing us from getting our lives back to normal. It's not the science, it's not the virus, it's the misinformation out there that's doing it. And I would add Joe Rogan to the list, Nicki Minaj, amongst others as well. Let's break down all the things Aaron Rodgers said. First, he says he's allergic to this. What do you think the chance of being allergic to polyethylene glycol is?
Like 1 in like...
Stop guessing.
I don't
Nobody
know.
knows what that is.
I don't know.
11 in a million. So you got it. You were right. I mean, it's a very low risk of being allergic. Second, there is data that even if you're allergic, you can still get those vaccines, just presented last weekend. Third, tell me what he said about fertility.
He was worried about Shailene Woodley, who he is engaged to, I believe,
Yes.
about they wanted to maybe start a family, and he was concerned about J&J and other things with fertility in the vaccine.
So no evidence that the vaccine causes problems with fertility. But guess what there is evidence of? That getting COVID, which he now has, does cause problems with fertility because there are receptors for the virus on the male reproductive organs. So isn't that a little bit ironic that his misinformation has actually led him to potentially get the thing that he was trying to avoid and increase his chance of infertility?
I want to say this just for a second.
Please.
I know I'm going to get to viewer questions, but I have one of my own.
Yes.
A lot of my friends are going through this very same thing right now. Denver has a very special doctor that people fly out, right? They're having problems with their trying to conceive. Their concern, many of them are like, I don't know if I want to get the vaccine while we're trying to do this. That's just a legit concern they have because the data is so small because COVID is so new. So what would you say to people that have that very same question?
I would say that there's absolutely no scientific basis. So let me tell you guys where these concerns came from. The first, a bunch of women that got the vaccine, their cycle got messed up.
Right.
But guess what? If you travel or you're stressed, you have a fight with your husband, anything that changes the milieu of your body can change your cycle for a month month or two.
Right, became the period changer. I remember that, yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's translating into long-term fertility effects. That's number one. Number two, there was some data submitted to the European FDA that the spike protein, which is the one that we make antibodies against, matches a protein on the placenta. So the worry was that women will start rejecting the placenta because they have antibodies against it. So if that was the case, what do you think would have happened to the birth rate last year when all these, it would have gone down.
Plummeted, yeah.
But instead it went up because guess what people were doing while they were stuck inside?
What, Doc?
Stop it, Jeff. Stop it right now, Jeff.
Playing taboo, Jeff.
Well, thanks for answering that, because a lot of people ask that.
Yes, and let's get to one quick viewer question. Jenna says there's a new blood test that can detect 50 types of cancer. As someone who has a history of cancer in their family, and I also do as well, how will this test help people like our viewer Jenna?
So what we're doing right now, Al, is just looking for about 5 cancers. Those are the only ones we screen for, and everything else we are reactive. We wait for the cancer to present itself. This kind of a test that looks for tiny little chromosomal abnormalities in your blood, so microscopic changes that the cancer can cause, will check 50 cancers, 10 times as many. And you know, with cancer, the earlier you catch it, the more the likelihood of a cure.
This is what Elizabeth Holmes, the Theranos woman, was trying to do with the blood test that failed, but she's trying to get more information on blood drops and get you a whole list of things.
Yes, but that was impossible what she was doing.
But now it's coming to life.
Well, so this one's not FDA approved yet.
Got it.
And Elizabeth was looking at some of the other markers, proteins, like your protein signature, so to speak. But the idea of using a drop of blood to create a personalized profile for you and predict disease before it happens, it's incredible.
Wow.
It's like that movie Gattaca.
That's right.
And Gattaca are all the words in the chromosomes, G-A-T-C-A.
No, the amino acids.
Amino acids.
Yes.
Thank you, doctor. And Al. If you have a question you want answered by Dr. Coley, write us on social media. You can also email info@dailyblastlive.com. We'll be right back.
Aaron Rodgers missed Sunday's Green Bay Packers game after testing positive for COVID-19. But that wasn't the only reason he was a trending topic on Twitter and Google. Over the summer, Rodgers said he was immunized, but then confirmed he was not vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, there are questions whether he was following the NFL's COVID-19 protocols and what kind of punishment he could face from the league. The NFL doesn't require players to get a COVID-19 vaccine, but unvaccinated players have different rules they must follow. So, let's verify. Can a player be fined for violating COVID-19 protocols? Our sources are NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy and the COVID-19 protocols established by the League and Players Association. If they don't get a jab, NFL players must follow strict rules, including getting regularly tested, wearing a mask more often, and limiting some activities in their personal lives. If players don't follow the rules, they face disciplinary action, which in some cases means a fine. For example, all players who refuse testing face a fine of $50,000, and unvaccinated players who refuse to wear a mask in their team's facilities can be fined nearly $15,000. Repeat offenders could be fined up to a week's pay and be suspended for up to 4 weeks without pay. So it's true, players and teams can be fined for violating the league's COVID-19 protocols, and it's happened before. Last season, the New Orleans Saints and Las Vegas Raiders were fined for not following the rules, along with some individual Raiders players. League spokesman Brian McCarthy says the NFL is investigating whether Rodgers and the Packers were following the rules. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
All the venues are getting booked up. I'm gonna end up getting married at like Chuck E. Cheese or something.
Chuck E. Cheese actually is the best pizza in the world.
I know, I love it there.
This is like my wedding too. He just needs to stay in his lane.
Whew, I never liked the Chuck E. Cheese pizza. All right, welcome back to DBL. She's had her hand in reality TV since it first took over the airwaves. And as the mother of Paris Hilton and sister to Real Housewives Kim and Kyle, she's found her lane as one of the realest additions to the Beverly Hills cast. We spoke with Kathy Hilton earlier in today's Chatting with the Stars.
Now, I have to ask
ask you right off the top, the main drama, and I don't even know if I should call it drama because it's not petty, it's very serious, that happened this season on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, started when Erica Jane was confronted about her ex Tom Girardi, who is accused of millions of dollars worth of fraud. So it all went down at Kyle's dinner party. I have to ask you, and in fact, a lot of our viewers wrote this very question in. They want to know, why did that moment bring you to tears?
I just was, I was new, and, you know, I'm not on the show all the time, so I wasn't there for the meeting that all the girls had. I did not know a lot of the different things going on. I will look at you with my hand to God. I did not watch the movie that was about her or read anything. I don't know her that well, so, and from what I knew, she seemed very sweet. I just was so sad, and I started to cry. It's around the holidays, and you're thinking about people, and that's all I'll say.
Kathy, girl, huge fan here. First of all, I'm Erica. I wanted to just clarify that because some people say that I look like your sister Kyle as well.
Oh, you do, Erica.
You know, I knew. So on a lighter note, you made viewers laugh out loud, myself included, this season on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Let's take a look.
But it's hard for me to sit there and pretend like everything's great and hunky-dory when it's not.
Who is hunky-dory?
Who's hunky-dory?
Can we look forward to seeing you hold a diamond next season? Please. Because currently you're featured as a friend.
You know what? I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I could be, you know, skiing down Mount Everest. I have no idea really right now. I'm so busy with the wedding, and it's crazy. I had the best time though on the show. I really enjoyed my time, and I love the girls, and I love the crew. And by the way, I love the fans. These fans are just so, like, they love they know everything that's going on. They're sometimes funnier than the cast, and they just are very precious.
So, Kathy, you mentioned Paris. You must be very excited. She's getting married this Thursday on 11/11, and we can all tune in to watch. Is there a special reason why she picked that date, 11/11?
11/11 is since she was a young girl. It's a lucky day, she thinks, and I think so as well, 11/11. So she said, I don't care where, but I'm getting married 11/11.
All right. And what are some of your favorite details about her wedding plans?
I put out 3 different tablecloths, and what I did was I went ahead and designed one with nuage, and it's called Claire Lace, and it happens to be very similar to this Oscar de la Renta beaded jacket.
Nice. Stunning.
So this is vintage too. But can you see the detail?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I've got the best for last, but I'm going to tell you something in a minute, a secret. This is Mother of the Bride, my champagne.
Yes.
And we're doing a special drink, Moet Rose Imperial Champagne. And I wanted to have a little pink for, Paris has got to have a little pink in her wedding, right? So we're doing 2 special cocktails, and one is going to have pink cotton candy.
DBL Nation, you can see more of Kathy in Paris in Love. It streams this Thursday on Peacock. Thanks to Kathy, and we'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Nations is hosting a summit this week to discuss the world's top climate issues, including deforestation. Some social media posts suggest choosing certain brands of chocolate could help make a difference because cocoa farmers often cut down all other types of trees to keep up with growing demand. So let's verify. Is cocoa production causing deforestation? Our sources are the environmental advocacy group Mighty Earth, the World Cocoa Foundation's Director of Environment, and 3 of the largest chocolate companies in the world. The concern about deforestation begins with where and how cocoa is grown. Cocoa plants thrive near the equator, and the World Cocoa Foundation estimates Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana produce 2/3 of the world's supply of cocoa. But to keep up with demand and expand cocoa crops, farmers often cut down all other types of trees. The WCF estimates Côte d'Ivoire lost a quarter of its forest since 2001.
And cocoa has been a major driver of that deforestation. In order to maintain their livelihoods, they'll abandon their old and diseased farms and expand into new areas, very often being forested areas, resulting in deforestation.
But since this isn't a new issue, environmentalists have long pressured chocolate companies to buy sustainable cocoa and pay farmers better so they're incentivized to do less damage to forests. In 2017, a partnership between the industry, governments, the World Cocoa Foundation, and other stakeholders started to address this by planting 10 million new trees, promoting more sustainable production, and increasing traceability. Nestle and Mars committed to buying only deforestation-free cocoa by 2025, and Hershey plans to eliminate deforestation from its entire supply chain by 2030. So it's true, cocoa production is causing deforestation, but organizations say you can help by opting for sustainably produced chocolate. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
College enrollment is down, way down. Fewer folks are signing up for classes across the board, whether it be community college, undergraduate, or graduate programs. Overall, enrollment is down 3.5%. And when you look at just students going to college straight out of high school, that's a 7% drop. The National Student Clearinghouse says we haven't seen a dip this big in more than 50 years. Community college enrollment is down about 15% in the last 2 years. Researchers say this is troubling since community colleges often enroll more low-income students and students of color. Usually, when we're coming out of a recession, college enrollments go up so folks can learn new skills to fill open jobs. That hasn't been the case this time around. The pandemic meant when the economy was recovering and more people usually go to school, recent high school grads went straight for the jobs instead. If more people aren't going to college, then there are fewer skilled workers available to hire, and the economy suffers long term. And that's connecting the dots.
Welcome back to DBL. You may not believe how widespread identity theft is. Well, it's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. During the pandemic, identity theft rose by a whopping 45%. For real. Not only that, but it turns out social media users are 30% more likely to have their identity stolen. So listen, if you have a Facebook account, make sure you're not sharing personal information online. Most people don't even think about getting their identity stolen, but the effects really do have a lasting negative emotional impact on victims, and you are at a higher risk than you think. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. Call 1-800-419-0131 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. It's such a violation. My sister had this happen, and it's so like emotionally, you're so vulnerable. Someone's being you.
It's scary, and you really can't do anything about it. I've gone through it. It's wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
No, I know.
Can we do a photo shoot like me and Alan were the stock photos? Like, it's always me and Al's photo.
That's great.
Let's work on that.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Be safe. Bye, guys. Just you sad.
Thanksgiving travel could be even more of a hassle this year. Let's connect the dots. Right now, airports are seeing staffing issues across nearly every position. One of the places most in need of workers, airport security. And those lines could get even longer starting next month. All federal employees, including the TSA, are now required to get the COVID vaccine, but only about 60% of TSA employees are currently vaccinated. And the deadline for them to roll up their sleeves is November 22nd. which is just 3 days before Thanksgiving. Now, the head of the TSA says he is hopeful this won't lead to a shortage of airport screeners for the holiday, but he does admit they are working on a backup plan in case a large part of their workforce is suddenly off the job. And many airlines are also weighing the same issue. American and Southwest are currently backing up plans to punish unvaccinated employees, saying they won't be fired or suspended right away. So what should you do if you're traveling this Turkey Day? Show up at the airport with several hours to spare and try to travel as early in the week as you can. That way you have some wiggle room if something goes wrong. I'm Audrey Castoreno, and that's Connecting the Dots.
Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Lawsuits begin to fly as more details emerge from the fatal Astro World Music Festival. We're hearing from a father who lost his son in the tragedy.
It could be you. It could be you. Today is me. I lost my son.
Lance Bass is shocked in this new video. Find out what brought the pop star's jaw to the floor. Law & Order actor Vincent D'Onofrio joins us live to talk about his new movie with Viola Davis and Sandra Bullock. And the unbelievable story of a mother surviving 4 gunshot wounds to the head.
We were not expected to live.
How she's fighting to end violence against women.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane? This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here, drum roll. Welcome to DBL. It is Tuesday, November 9th. I'm Sam here with Al, Jeff, and Tori, and we are continuing to follow the story about the crowd surge at a Houston concert that left 8 people dead and dozens more injured. One of the victims, 21-year-old Axel Acosta, died because the weight of the crowd literally suffocated him. His father is speaking out about his death. Take a look.
We're trying to make things change in this type of events. Today is me. I lost my son. It could be you. It could be you. It's not the first time that he's been in a big event. You can go to Disneyland and have fun. You can go to a baseball game and have fun because they have the right security.
That poor father. He has joined one of at least 18 lawsuits against rapper Travis Scott, who headlined the festival along with the organizers of the event. Now, the FBI has launched a criminal investigation, and some officials are saying that Scott should have paused the show. Here is what the Houston's fire chief told the Today Show.
We all have a responsibility. Everybody in that at that event has a responsibility, starting from the artist on down. The artist, if he notices something that's going on, he can certainly pause that performance, turn on the lights, and said, "Hey, we're not going to continue until this thing is resolved."
A lot of finger pointing. So to talk more about this, we are joined by former prosecutor, veteran trial attorney, and of course, friend of the show, Mark Eiglarsh. Mark, thank you so much for joining us again, despite these horrible circumstances. So we know there are already civil lawsuits. One of them is by the family of the 9-year-old who was nearly trampled to death. I know you're a father of 3. Mark, just put on your attorney hat here, not your father hat. Maybe they're one and the same. Who do you expect will be sued?
Everyone. Every single possible person who possibly could have reasonably foreseen this and committed any acts of negligence will be included in the civil lawsuit. And then they'll point their fingers at each other once they're all joined in the lawsuit, saying, no, you're more responsible, I'm less responsible, or I'm not responsible at all. And then they'll sort out what the total amount is owed to each person and who has to pay what percentage.
Well, Mark, that was going to be my question. And Jeff, I know you got a question. I'm just going to jump in really quickly. I know they're talking about suing Travis Scott, but I thought Travis Scott was just like a person that was just the hired help, no different than the concession stand or the security or the parking detail. So why would Travis Scott be under any legal obligation to do anything but perform and then get off stage at his contractually obligated time?
And may I ask if the microphone
You
he
make
has,
an excellent.
does that microphone he have add to that, Mark? I just wanted to add to that.
They've been debating all morning about this, Mark, just FYI.
Okay, so you're both potentially right, okay? And I really mean that. It depends upon what the facts are. He is hired help. He's not part of the security team. He's not part of the production team. So one would argue, Al is correct, he's just hired help. At the same time, if he said or did anything to encourage the crowd, to add to it, if he saw that people were being harmed, and again, we don't know what the facts are, but if he saw that people were being harmed and he continued to perform and encourage in a way that led to more injury and death, then he could be responsible. For sure, he's going to be on the lawsuits because he's got deep pockets.
I have to ask, too, is the civil lawsuit a negligent thing? Is this like he was negligent about it? And now that the FBI is involved, could jail time be a possible thing here, Mark? Because you're talking about a criminal charge now.
First question first, it's definitely a civil thing, and what it is a premises liability case. You invited everybody who bought a ticket to your venue. You owe them a duty to protect every single one of those attendees against foreseeable risks. A crowd surge is a foreseeable risk. It's happened before, it will happen again. What did you guys do about it? And criminally, where the burden of proof is much higher, see, in a civil lawsuit, it's only 51%, preponderance of the evidence. Criminal cases, proof beyond it to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt, much higher burden. I think it's going to require recklessness. And I don't know if that's there. It really does depend on the facts.
Mark, can I ask you this really quickly? I'm sorry, Sam. I just didn't understand why the fire marshal was able to go on television, it seems like, launch the first silo in terms of the court of public opinion. He was like, yeah, everybody there may have been, culpable with some responsibility. But I'm like, he didn't mention the fire department. I've been at a lot of concerts, a lot of nightclubs that have been shut down, a lot of house parties that were really rocking until the fire department showed up. So why is it now they're no longer their responsibility and now it's on Travis Scott?
Well, look, you know how it works. The highest profile cases, everybody's going to be pointing fingers and wanting to show blame. If you can get out in front of it and say you're not responsible, either because you're not or because you just want to look like you're not, then you're going to do it. And by the way, the only good news in this is that Jeff is safe, because crowd surges usually don't happen at Barry Manilow concerts.
I was wondering how you were going to swing that.
That's Jason Mraz.
Hey, he's a Jason Mraz guy, too.
Yeah.
Oh, I said it.
I am.
Hey, I was going to stay quiet on this one, Mark. You brought me in. You called down the thunder. No, I got nothing. Sam's got a question.
Wow. Well, I just think, listen, Mark, because there's and listen, I do have empathy for everybody in this situation, but I tend to agree with Tori that there has to be some culpability with Travis Scott. It's his production, right? We know the Astro World is his. He has a history of inciting his fan base to push down those barricades. I know that Al would say something like, well, this happens all the time at punk rock shows. That's actually not true.
It's the basis of punk rock is
that is not
go
true.
against the system.
But safety is important at punk rock shows.
I have been to easily 200 punk shows. That's all I did every Thursday and Saturday night from age 14 to probably 28 years old. Every single time someone fell in a mosh pit or was crowd surfing, or if a woman or a teenager was assaulted, which did happen, you would see the lead singer, from Kurt Cobain to any singer, Slayer, Metallica, whoever it may be, say, stop it. Did that girl just get assaulted? Kick that guy out. Or stop it, get up. There's a culture there. And there's a culture at hip hop shows too. I've seen it at Wu-Tang.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is different.
But this is 50,000 people, Sam. You cannot ask one human being to police over 50,000 people.
They had a professional duty to keep those 50,000 people safe.
They shouldn't have been in there to begin with.
Well, then that's a problem.
That's on the fire marshal or whoever opened the gates to let them in.
So he's just free of all problems, Travis Scott?
Yes, he's just the entertainer. It'd be like if there was a fist fight at a wedding. You don't blame the band.
Let me add one thing.
Yeah, get in there, Mark. Get in.
Let me add one thing. Here's the thing. I love healthy debates. It's fabulous, and you guys are amazing. What we don't know are these little pesky things called the facts. While extremely unlikely, maybe Travis Scott said, look, and I don't think that this happened, but let's say he had a discussion with promoters and said, listen, how will you be keeping people safe? And he's like, don't worry. You just worry about your part, we got this. Well, we don't know that that happened, but if there are facts like that that seem to suggest that he's concerned and or promoters are going to be responsible for that, and his job is just to do a kick-ass show, well, wait a second. Then the debate changes a little bit.
Right.
So we just don't know what the facts are,
All
right?
right. We'll have to continue to follow this, Mark. We thank you for joining us. We thank you for the dig against Jeff.
Be well.
For more information on Mark and his law firm, go to speaktomark.com. We will be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
What's going on, guys? So Al and I any one of us can argue, even if like a very important lawyer's on, like Mark Eiglar's. I think a lot of people have a feeling of what is the amount and percentage of responsibility for Travis Scott. And Al and I just have fundamentally different takes on if you hold the microphone and you've been arrested before for inciting riots and you tweeted out, hey, let's let the wild ones in, you owe more of the pie than, let's say, someone who was on, not doing all those things. So it adds up. It all adds up. So in a court of law, it's like a pie. Why am I so hungry for pie? But it's like, yeah, the milk, the flour, you got to put all that in. You put his tweets in, you put his arrests in. And Al and I just fundamentally disagree about who has the responsibility. So we love each other, but we just disagree.
Hey, Doc, do you go to the hospital like that and you just put a jacket on?
Heads up. We went a little long there.
Too long?
In your medical opinion, what's worse, that
stop, Jeff.
or the flu?
We're just going to talk about the Aaron Rodgers issue. That's what we're going to talk about today. We'll save the other one for the next time.
So I could follow up with that same question?
Aaron Rodgers thing?
Yeah.
Hi! Are we on? Okay, good. So I thought Al and I got into a great debate, and something that Al brought up that I thought of, but I think I really need to understand is, because I've been to Wu-Tang shows too, where they tell people, because all of a sudden you're seeing rap and hip-hop shows start to adopt a lot of the punk rock mentality of like moshing and crowd surfing, and I think that came from Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit.
I mean, it's.
But I never took into consideration, I want to give you some props here, 50,000 people compared to 1,500 people.
Yeah, it's just tough. And I mean, if somebody's been on stage just in front of a couple thousand people, if you're at a theater, like a confined theater, you can maybe only see the first 2.5 rows, and then the rest is just complete blackness. So I'm sure that periods where lights are going, but I'm sure he's trying to entertain.
Oh yeah, believe me, I have.
It's a bad precedent to set, you know?
Yeah.
So because we don't have much time for this.
Welcome back to DBL. We are so glad to have our Dr. Coley here with us because we've been debating about this next topic. And a lot of our viewers just want to hear the facts. So we got the person, the expert, to give us the facts. We want Dr. Coley's take on Aaron Rodgers, as he recently revealed that the reason he didn't get vaccinated, and there's a number of reasons. So what's your take on someone who is spreading misinformation on his level?
You know, before I give you the facts, I'm going to rant a little bit because I am pissed off, and I think I speak for the entire
Our
medical
executive producer
community.
just cringed.
I love it.
I'm just mad.
I love it.
Like, we're fighting a deadly virus. We've got a global pandemic that we're trying to take down. We're trying to develop science at warp speed, develop a vaccine in really record time to try to get our lives back to normal. And then you have the villain. You have people like Aaron Rodgers or Joe Rogan who have these platforms, and because they want to increase their followers, they're turning science on its head and promoting misinformation. And now we have to fight that, in addition to fighting the virus and dealing with the science.
Go
Give
ahead.
us the facts, though, because I know a lot of people are saying he mentioned infertility.
Yeah.
He mentioned, please just let our viewers know what the facts are.
Yeah, so he started by saying that he might be allergic to polyethylene glycol, which is part of the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, but not part of J&J. But the chance of being allergic to that is 11 people out of 1 million. So even if you give him that, let's say he's one of those 11, There is data from the American College of Allergy and Immunology that people with PEG allergies, polyethylene glycol allergies, can still get the vaccine. So that number one reason doesn't hold up. Number two reason, he's worried about fertility. Okay, well, where does that come from? There's no evidence that it causes any issues with fertility. In fact, the opposite. Getting the virus has been known to impact male fertility because there are receptors for the virus on the male reproductive organs.
How about if you're going through like IVF, and this is personal to me because I have friends, they come see a doctor here in Denver, he's a specialist, and again, I'm not having another baby, this is for a friend. There are concerns because they spend tens of thousands of dollars trying to get pregnant and they don't want to put something else in their body. So I've had this conversation and they're like, I'm not going to do this right now because we're trying to get pregnant. What would you say to them? I
would say the most important thing to ensure the success of your pregnancy is going to be to get yourselves vaccinated. Because we know that women who get pregnant and are unvaccinated or unboosted have a much higher risk of losing the baby, of preterm labor, of birth defects, and of mom having complications as well. So you're putting all this money in. Don't you want to make sure that you set yourself up for success? And the time to do it is before you get pregnant. So that's number one. Number two, I know people worry that anything could affect their chances of getting pregnant, but scientifically, you're actually making the embryo in a petri dish and injecting it. So it's the risk of the vaccine. It doesn't exist because it's much different than the natural process of getting pregnant, which maybe hormonal fluctuations can affect.
It's interesting how like one part of science you're committed to, right? Which is like the fertility treatment, the IVF, but then the other part of science. It's always this duality of thought, you're right. Yeah, you're shunning. I don't understand it. Like, do we trust doctors? Do we not trust doctors?
I think there's an irrational fear when it comes to pregnancy and babies, and because you have so much invested, like Jeff said, emotionally, financially, in every way, you forget to think about logic. You forget to embrace that science. So I'm glad you brought that up, Sam.
We gotta consult with our doctors always, and we always have Dr. Coley here, so thank goodness for that. If you have a question you want answered by our Dr. Coley, write us on social media. You can email info@dailyblasslive.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Coley, as always. We'll be right back.
Aaron Rodgers missed Sunday's Green Bay Packers game after testing positive for COVID-19. But that wasn't the only reason he was a trending topic on Twitter and Google. Over the summer, Rodgers said he was immunized, but then confirmed he was not vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, there are questions whether he was following the NFL's COVID-19 protocols and what kind of punishment he could face from the league. The NFL doesn't require players to get a COVID-19 vaccine, but unvaccinated players have different rules they must follow. So, let's verify. Can a player be fined for violating COVID-19 protocols? Our sources are NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy and the COVID-19 protocols established by the League and Players Association. If they don't get a jab, NFL players must follow strict rules, including getting regularly tested, wearing a mask more often, and limiting some activities in their personal lives. If players don't follow the rules, they face disciplinary action, which in some cases means a fine. For example, all players who refuse testing face a fine of $50,000, and unvaccinated players who refuse to wear a mask in their team's facilities can be fined nearly $15,000. Repeat offenders could be fined up to a week's pay and be suspended for up to 4 weeks without pay. So it's true, players and teams can be fined for violating the league's COVID-19 protocols, and it's happened before. Last season, the New Orleans Saints and Las Vegas Raiders were fined for not following the rules, along with some individual Raiders players. League spokesman Brian McCarthy says the NFL is investigating whether Rodgers and the Packers were following the rules. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. Imagine being a walking, talking miracle. Our next guest survived not one gunshot to the head, but 4, all by the hand of the person she loved. The violence did not stop or start there. We will take you through this incredible story of Kimya Motley and how she escaped abuse. Now, a warning to our viewers, some may find this disturbing.
My name is Kimya Motley, and I am the Director of Communications at A Call to Men, an organization that teaches men and boys in an effort to end violence against all women and girls. But I did not get here in a conventional way. once upon a time, I was a teacher surrounded by 4-year-olds. I was teaching pre-K, and I thought that I would live out the rest of my career as an educator. But something pretty amazing happened to me to change the whole trajectory of my career. And by amazing, I do not mean that in a great way. I met and married the man that I thought would be the man of my dreams. We were married 4 years, but after 1 year of marriage, he became very abusive in every way. I grew up in a home where domestic violence was prevalent. And because I saw this growing up, it became normalized to me. Now, there were warning signs that came in the very beginning of the relationship, but because I wouldn't know how to recognize what those warning signs were, I went right past the red flags and began a relationship with him. My ex-husband was such a great listener. As a matter of fact, I often say I gave him the blueprint to my deception. Honestly, I left because his abuse turned towards my son. And that's when I made the decision, okay, this relationship cannot go on. On September 20th, 2011, I went to go drop my daughter off at daycare. My ex-husband was actually 3 hours away from me, staying at his parents' home. He stole his mother's car. See, I just asked him for a divorce. When I arrived at the daycare center, he ambushed us. He shot me in my face, in my neck, in the back of my head, and in my back with a .38. And he did not stop there. He went on to shoot my then 10-year-old daughter 1 time at point blank range in the head. We were not expected to live.
What a miraculous backstory, Kimia. We are so glad you're here, you're okay. Neither you nor your daughter were expected to live. And I was wondering what the recovery process was like physically for both of you, but also emotionally.
Well, honestly, it's a journey when you're trying to recover from something like that. You know, initially I was in the hospital only 1 week, and they thought that I would be in the hospital for months. We did have to, of course, go through counseling, and my daughter's recovery, she was in the hospital for 5 weeks. Wow. She had to learn how to walk again, talk again, feed herself, read, write, everything all over again. We're even thinking about, you know, going back to counseling now. Yeah. Like it's been 10 years, but sometimes, you know, things may trigger you or whatever. So we go back in like it's our tune-up, you know, like you said with your car or whatever, because it's so, your mental health is so important.
Well said.
Kimia, I love your spirit.
I know.
I mean, it's just amazing. Can you take us through some of the warning signs or red flags of an abusive partner?
If they have sweeping romantic gestures, that could be a red flag. If they are rushing you into commitment and then beginning to isolate you, like with my ex-husband, immediately he began saying things like, your friends are not there for you, your family is not here for you, you know, I'm the only one that's here for you. And then this is a weird one, but kind of placing you on a pedestal. You want to be told that you're beautiful and you're awesome and, you know, all of this stuff. But when they place you on that pedestal, it gives a lot of room for you to fall. But if the person you're dating has few friends or maybe none at all, that's a huge red flag.
And if you can speak directly to their mothers, fathers, caretakers of young boys in this moment, what would you say?
Well, at A Call to Men, we teach a lot about something that we call the man box. However, this box sets the groundwork for women and people that are marginalized to be hurt, but it's also dangerous for our boys as well. So as our sons are growing up, it's important for their moms, their parents, whomever, to show them warm love. It's okay to give our sons hugs and kisses. That's not just for daughters. It's okay for them to cry. It's part of the natural cycle of things. Let them cry. And then they need to be able to try new things. Try new things that are not caught up with traditional gender roles. Like, if you know, our sons need to know how to cook and clean and do all those things that are traditionally supposed to be things set aside for just girls. And then I would finally say, encourage them to be kind, bold, and brave.
Wow. Kimia, I can't get over you. You're unbelievable. I mean, your daughter is so lucky to have you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and our viewers. Now, DBL Nation, if you or anyone you know is suffering from domestic violence, take a screenshot, visit this site below. We are also going to have a link on our website and our social medias. You can create a safety plan and get a copy of Kimia's memoir, Born of Violence. We love it. We can't wait to spread the news. Head over to Amazon, get your book, get prepared, get ready, and give back like the beautiful Kimia. Thank you so much for your advocacy and help. We'll be right back.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
The United Nations is hosting a summit this week to discuss the world's top climate issues, including deforestation. Some social media posts suggest choosing certain brands of chocolate could help make a difference because cocoa farmers often cut down all other types of trees to keep up with growing demand. So let's verify. Is cocoa production causing deforestation? Our sources are the environmental advocacy group Mighty Earth, the World Cocoa Foundation's Director of Environment, and 3 of the largest chocolate companies in the world. The concern about deforestation begins with where and how cocoa is grown. Cocoa plants thrive near the equator, and the World Cocoa Foundation estimates Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana produce 2/3 of the world's supply of cocoa. But to keep up with demand and expand cocoa crops, farmers often cut down all other types of trees. The WCF estimates Côte d'Ivoire lost 1/4 of its forest since 2001.
And cocoa has been a major driver of that deforestation. In order to maintain their livelihoods, they'll abandon their old and diseased farms and expand into new areas, very often being forested areas, resulting in deforestation.
But since this isn't a new issue, environmentalists have long pressured chocolate companies to buy sustainable cocoa and pay farmers better so they're incentivized to do less damage to forests. In 2017, a partnership between the industry, governments, the World Cocoa Foundation, and other stakeholders started to address this by planting 10 million new trees, promoting more sustainable production, and increasing traceability. Nestle and Mars committed to buying only deforestation-free cocoa by 2025, and Hershey plans to eliminate deforestation from its entire supply chain by 2030. So it's true, cocoa production is causing deforestation, but organizations say you can help by opting for sustainably produced chocolate. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
College enrollment is down, way down. Fewer folks are signing up for classes across the board, whether it be community college, undergraduate, or graduate programs. Overall, enrollment is down 3.5%. And when you look at just students going to college straight out of high school, that's a 7% drop. The National Student Clearinghouse says we haven't seen a dip this big in more than 50 years. Community college enrollment is down about 15% in the last 2 years. Researchers say this is troubling since community colleges often enroll more low-income students and students of color. Usually, when we're coming out of a recession, college enrollments go up so folks can learn new skills to fill open jobs. That hasn't been the case this time around. The pandemic meant when the economy was recovering and more people usually go to school, recent high school grads went straight for the jobs instead. If more people aren't going to college, then there are fewer skilled workers available to hire, and the economy suffers long term. And that's connecting the dots.
If you are leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show online, but if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Did Pete Davidson just address the romance rumors with Kim, the clip that everyone is talking about? Plus, Jeff Bezos' girlfriend is caught on camera fawning over Leonardo DiCaprio. His reaction after the break.
Thanksgiving travel could be even more of a hassle this year. Let's connect the dots. Right now, airports are seeing staffing issues across nearly every position. One of the places most in need of workers? Airport security. And those lines could get even longer starting next month. All federal employees, including the TSA, are now required to get the COVID vaccine, but only about 60% of TSA employees are currently vaccinated. And the deadline for them to roll up their sleeves is November 22nd, which is just 3 days before Thanksgiving. Now, the head of the TSA says he is hopeful this won't lead to a shortage of airport screeners for the holiday, but he does admit they are working on a backup plan in case a large part of their workforce is suddenly off the job. And many airlines are also weighing the same issue. American and Southwest are currently backing up plans to punish unvaccinated employees, saying they won't be fired or suspended right away. So what should you do if you're traveling this Turkey Day? Show up at the airport with several hours to spare and try to travel as early in the week as you can. That way you have some wiggle room if something goes wrong. I'm Audrey Castoreno, and that's Connecting the Dots.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all just
It's
stop.
finally here. Drum roll. Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Al, and Tori. So, he may be the richest man in the world, but Jeff Bezos can still get his ego bruised. Check out this video that was shared on Twitter of Jeff Bezos' girlfriend looking up at Leonardo DiCaprio, appearing, well, a bit smitten. The video has gone viral, with Leo being labeled Mr. Steal Your Girl. Leo also appears to be standing on something because he's only 3 inches taller than Jeff. Bezos took note and posted this photo on Twitter, posing with a sign that said, "Danger, steep cliff, fatal drop." He captioned it with, "Leo, come over here. I want to show you something."
I think
good one.
The best thing, you know what though, Jeff?
He's
the
trying to
best
be
thing,
funny.
no, he's trying to be funny because there's a little bit of truth there. I don't think that he wants to kill Leonardo DiCaprio, but he wouldn't be making a joke if something didn't happen. There would be no joke to be made. But the fact is, his girl, Sam, his woman, his partner, was way out of pocket. Way out of pocket.
I gotta
Like,
agree
you
with you.
cannot be smiling like that when you are with your significant other. I just think that there are lines and boundaries with personal respect,
It was
and
the
I would be
googly
out of
eye.
pocket too if I did that with my.
Not only was it googly eyes, she kind of like, she leaned
And then
in.
Sam,
She
when he
almost
moved,
touched him
she
with her
moved
chest.
with him. They moved in when he backed up because he was uncomfortable, and she moved as
Can
well.
we see it again? There's almost a chest bump.
Now
You
watch.
see that? You
He's
see
he's
she
gonna
almost
move.
bumps him with her chest.
He's gonna move, and look, she's right behind him. Like,
She's like, wait, I'm coming with you. It's like love bubbles are coming out of her eyes.
It can't happen.
It's not right. Those heart bubbles.
The heart emojis, yeah. What do you
Listen.
think, Jeff? How would you feel if Jordan was like that with
I don't
Leo?
blame her. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. I might have given him a little chest bump. You know what I mean?
But you can sneak a peek, but she would not disrespect you and be like that.
I agree with you, Jeff Bezos. Like, he was a little hurt about it because all the
It went
money in the
viral.
world can't buy you happiness, right? Some people are like, yeah, I'd be much happier. It definitely doesn't make you look like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
So there you go. All the money in the world, you're still not Leonardo
What if he was
DiCaprio.
just trying to be light about it and was being funny?
No, he was hurt.
I think it went too viral for him.
And I think it's okay for you to be hurt by that.
yeah.
That's a little disrespectful. Sam, would you care?
What?
But if your partner did
No,
that?
I'm in Jeff's boat. If Mark and I were like out and about and some gorgeous, like if like Halle Berry walked by him and Mark was like, Halle, I'd be like, I don't blame you, buddy. I
Really?
don't.
Wow.
Well, it's not like it's, oh, come on, Al.
It can't happen, man.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to
Give me
set
a
that
break.
precedent.
Oh, it's fine. All right. Well, I guess when you've been together as long as Jeff and I have been, we're just like, right?
Listen, I'm already That's all you. That's all you.
Pete Davidson addressed those Kim Kardashian dating rumors, sort of. During an appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers, Seth appeared to give Pete the chance to come clean about his relationship with Kim. Well, take a listen to what he said.
There's a lot of people I walk by, people are like whispering and, making eyes at me. And, but it is true. I do have a show on Tubi coming out. Yeah. The Tubi. A lot of people are shocked that I could get on a show like Tubi.
Kind of danced around it.
Yeah, I do have to say something publicly. I do owe you a sandwich. They are rumored to be lightly dating.
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Why just Jeff? I said it as well.
And we have multiple clips.
First of all,
I have bet a sandwich, and I'm trying to own up to the fact that I
No, you're going to get shamed for like 4 minutes straight.
Okay.
You told me while I sat over there, I'm like, Tori, I think they're together. You go, I promise. And you scolded me. I promise. I promise. They are not together.
You did.
She was scolding me and pointing at me like a child.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
And now you're sandwich shopping. Yeah. But it needs to be for all of us.
It needs to be 3 sandwiches.
Okay, 3 sandwiches. I'll get the vegan. I'll get everything ready.
And the apology?
And the apology. I also apologize. Do I think he's going to be...
No.
I apologize for saying it patronizingly and for also being wrong, but I will say this. I don't see Pete Davidson as like North stepdad. I see this as a
said that.
rebound. I know,
but
and
the
I
thing is,
apologize.
They're having a good time.
They're having a good
But why are you guys just leaving it? They're just having a good time because on paper they don't make sense. But I would think the person you end up with, a lot of times you guys don't make sense on paper, but the chemistry is just there. Why is it that crazy that two people that are in entertainment have kind of had tumultuous, parts of their life, have kind of come out of that and are looking for something stable? Why couldn't they last?
I don't know if he wants 4 stepkids. That's a lot to take.
You're not allowed to talk about this anymore.
Fair.
You lost your privileges.
All right, next story.
So, Jeff's buddy Lance Bass had a pretty amazing reaction to something recently. All right, I want each of you to guess, okay, as to what he is surprised by. So first, I want you guys to all guess. Tori, what do you think he's so surprised by?
He just saw Pete Davidson in the shower. I'm just kidding.
There is a rumor about that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was good.
That was good.
Really,
that was good.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, your turn.
I want to say
You know him.
I don't know what happened, but
What do you think?
I want to say it's something to do with his kids, but I was going to guess like the godparent of his kids, but that's way too excited. Maybe like JT's the godparent. I don't know.
Okay, all right, Justin Timberlake. What about you?
The only thing I thought about when I saw this is weird is like, when people find out about their backgrounds, like Morgan Freeman finds out. So like maybe he found out like he's related to somebody famous.
Oh.
Something.
All right.
Something, like it's got to be something to get that face.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah?
Yes.
I swear I haven't.
You really don't know?
I swear on my grandmother I have not looked at this. I swear.
Wow. Are we still talking about Pete?
Yeah.
Good one. Okay, Lance and his husband were on the Ancestry show, 2 Lies in a Week, where Lance found out something shocking about his family history.
Wait, that's right.
Point.
Yes.
Watch. And the answer is B, Britney Spears.
Are you kidding me? I don't care about losing because this is amazing.
I know, I guess you really are the true winner here.
Oh my gosh. Wait, how am I related to Britney Spears?
Britney is your 6th cousin once removed. Boom!
First of all, the whole once removed, twice removed is so confusing, but very cool, but I don't understand it.
Nobody does. No, it's like the cloud. What is it? We don't know. We don't know.
Do you understand that whole once removed, twice removed?
Is that through marriage?
It's the thing.
I don't know if we should do that live on TV.
Okay, so we can put that aside. What would you do?
Michael Dean was shaking his head. He thinks it's through marriage.
I thought it was children or something.
What do you think about your buddy Lance now being related to Britney?
You're dropping that line a lot. I haven't talked to Lance in a minute.
Oh, well, I thought.
He's my buddy. He's my buddy.
I'm sorry, you went to his wedding.
I know, but you said it like 3 times.
Yeah, because I was hoping you'd have an inside scoop. You knew we were doing this story today, right?
We also knew we were doing the story where Tori was wrong, and we didn't get any video of that.
So no inside scoop. Okay.
No inside scoop. Yeah, I guessed wrong. I thought it was going to be something about their.
What would you do if you found out you were related to Leonardo DiCaprio? Would you call and be like, hey, yo, I'm your 8th cousin twice removed?
Cuz.
Does it lose something after the first cousin?
Yeah.
Whenever somebody says that's my second cousin, I'd be like, you don't know that.
I think
no
frankly,
one knows their second cousin.
you can like marry your third cousin, can't you? It's like what? No, I just mean it's.
You can marry your first cousin.
Yeah, sixth cousin once removed is
so
pretty
the
far.
once removed, I was just told by Courtney, our producer, that it means one generation.
I still don't get it.
How do you not get it? One generation separates you two. Second removed means 2 generations separate you two. All right. Did you know that I recently found out that we're Jewish, my family?
No.
From one of the heritage.
Why are we just finding this out? That's
I've
awesome.
told Tori. I've told Sharon.
The Jews.
The 2 Jewish. Yay, Sharon!
Wow.
Oh my
I'm going right to HR.
My husband is
Soon as
Jewish.
this, how many more minutes,
Never
Jeff?
really knew my dad's
Me and Jeff will be in
history.
HR in 23 minutes.
welcome you.
My
We welcome
dad's
you.
side, we found out, is Jewish, and I'm very proud.
Shalom.
Now thank you. Yeah. So.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Hey, Al, guess what I just found out? What's up, homie?
Hey, that's not fair, you guys.
I'm saying congratulations.
I just wanted to share it with Tori and Sharon. 1, because they're very close to me. 2, so I could learn more about my heritage.
I think that's awesome.
Thank you very much. Okay, a new poll found that some pet owners can go a little overboard with their fur babies. The study looked at 2,000 pet owners and found that 97% said they always let their pet lick or kiss them. 22% said they share their food at the dinner table with their pets.
Ew.
2 out of 3 people let their pets jump on the furniture, and nearly 60% said their furry friend has their own spot on the couch. But get this, 6% admit to taking baths or bathing with their pet. Tori, you love your dogs. Have you ever done the above?
I've done several. Okay, before I judge, let me explain. Some people have children. Right now, I don't. I have fur children. They're really important to me. They're rescues. They're old. They're like aging. One's got 3 legs. So I take really good care of them. They give me a lot of comfort. And in response, I learned about responsibility, empathy, taking a walk, exercise, getting some sunlight. I came out of a depression with my dog, so I really appreciate this. I get close. I get a little close.
Beautifully said. Even Sierra over there was nodding her head in agreement.
Okay, thank you. This is me and my dogs. That's Josie, right? She almost died, and she came back. This is us at a sunset together. She doesn't look that interesting.
over it.
How many pictures did you send in?
9.
I had a baby, and I had 1.
Wow, she did send
This
in a
can
bunch.
go overboard, though,
We
Sam.
did do the bath the other day, and that was the first we've ever done it. And I did
You
not.
got in the bath too?
Listen, hold up. There's context, because I also don't agree with that. Now, the dog does sleep with me in bed, blah, blah, blah. Always sleeps with Sophie, by the way. Let's take a look at Scruffy and
Scruff
Sophie.
Muffin.
There is Scruff Muffin, but look at Scruff and Soph. Always sleep together, those 2. 2 peas in a pod. So we were in the bathtub together. Yes, I do take a bath with Miles and Sophie because Miles is still little, and I need to hold him. Sophie's right here. We have a big tub. And Scruffy, bless her little heart, sits right by the tub and waits for us. Well, Scruffy jumped up to the side, and Sophie was like, "Can Scruffy please come in?" And I said, "No, Sophie, that's not right." So then at the end of the bath, I said, "Sure." Scruffy jumped right in. We gave Scruffy a little bath too. Then Scruffy went out. I kind of like washed her down, and then I took like the shower head and I re-rinsed off Sophie and Miles. So I did, I feel like, do it the right way.
You multitasked.
Yeah.
I did it the right way.
It's a great story to show that you've just taught your daughters that boundaries don't exist.
What do you mean?
Boundaries are there for a reason. That's why there are no animals in the tub. There's no animals at the table, all right? Boundaries, all right? I'm sorry. There's a difference between man and beast. You're down there when I'm done. Beast. They're animals.
Wow.
They're animals.
Beast.
They're not eating at the table with me or getting in the tub.
Well, at least we know what clip we're going to send in for our Emmy clip right there. Sam's tub story with Scruff.
Coming up on DBL, you know him from Law and Order and Full Metal Jacket. Vincent D'Onofrio is here live. Do not go away. We are back with him in just minutes.
Closed captioning provided by
Bump in with a clip from the new movie he's promoting. It's Sandra Bullock is in it. She's the star. Sandra, sorry. Sandra Bullock, Unforgivable. Okay, so we're gonna bump in with a
He's from Full Metal Jacket, and he said, "I want Sugar Water, the alien in Men in Black." Do you guys remember him? That's who we're interviewing.
Right. And then we'll go into, this is a heavy movie. She goes to prison for murder. She's then released. But anything fun happened with Viola on set. He has a story about how it was COVID and they got shut down, and then when he came back, he couldn't touch Viola, who was his wife.
Oh,
that was very weird.
That's interesting.
So,
yeah.
That's what he's going to talk about. Then we're going to talk to him about like all of his iconic roles that he's had, and when he's out on the street, is there something is he more recognizable for one? He is. He'll tell you that.
The alien. Don't tell us. Don't tell us.
I know. You'll see.
Sugar water.
But if he doesn't, he has a great story about something that just happened to him recently with a fan.
Okay, cool.
If he
I
doesn't
like
go
those.
into it, ask him.
Okay.
But I'm sure he will.
Megan kicks butt at
And
this.
then we're going to ask him if he's going to come back for this comic book thing. We're going to ask him about his role on Jerry Falwell.
So I follow up with that Kingpin?
Yes. And then the last question we're doing is about his daughter, Layla George.
Who is divorced from Sean Penn.
Getting a divorce from Sean
Isn't that crazy?
He's very private. He says he will answer it, but he doesn't.
I'm not trying to make tabloidy about
We're not
it,
trying
totally.
to do that. We're just wondering how she's doing.
Remember
and then we're
when-
going to promote the movie at the
Remember
end.
when he goes
Okay,
like this?
great. Got
Your
it.
skin's
Thank you.
falling off.
Thank you guys.
Your skin's falling off your face.
What was his name in that movie?
What is it? Edgar!
Your skin's falling off, Edgar. Your skin's falling off your face.
What's that from?
Men in Black. I want sugar water.
Edgar in that.
It is.
It was Hyde.
Hyde?
Hyde.
No, it's Edgar and Bug. It is Edgar. You were just making up something.
No, his name's like Hyde, or like a.
You sound like you don't know.
No, it was not Edgar.
It is. I'm looking at the internet web.
She's right.
Edgar.
Your life starts here now, not 20 years ago.
She did her time.
She killed somebody in cold blood. If that were any of your black sons who had been in this system, they would be dead.
Wow, who deserves a second chance? Sandra Bullock's new movie, The Unforgivable, tests that very question. And today we are joined by one of the film's stars. Please welcome to the show the mesmerizing force that is Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Vincent, welcome to the show.
Hey, everyone.
Hey. Oh, so first and foremost, we're all big fans here. You're so talented. And the remarkable Viola Davis, very talented as well, plays your wife in this movie. But this is actually the second time you two have worked together. How was this experience different from the time that you guys worked on Law & Order together?
It was much more, I guess, intimate is the way to say it. We got to know each other a little bit. Back in the day when I was doing Law & Order, everything, we worked so much, Kate Irby and I. And so when the guest stars would come in, we would spend a little time with them, but not a lot of time. Whereas with a movie, it's a completely different set to be on. And so it was really nice. She's such an amazing lady. And also, as you know, she's just an incredible actress. So just to hang out with her and talk with her and play her husband in something was fantastic.
All right, well, Vince, obviously, this is a heavy movie, and we've been hearing a lot of bad stuff from sets, but I'm hoping you have some fun stories from set involving Viola.
Well, the most strange thing about the whole thing was we were doing it when we went back to we had to stop when COVID happened in March, and then we had to take a break, and then we went back, and when we went back, it was Netflix was one of the first companies to come up with how to do it and how to do it right and safely, so we had to wear masks and shields and stuff. But Viola and I had never done a scene together yet. We didn't play husband and wife yet. So now we find ourselves on a set wearing masks and shields for rehearsal, and you're only allowed to take them off when the camera's rolling for real. But so that was like, we were wondering, like, how are we going to do this? Like, we can't, like, at that point, you couldn't even touch,
right.
You couldn't. So we had to figure out a kind of looks between us and just a kind of vibe rather than, because when you leave a house, like if there's a scene where you're with your husband or with your wife and you have to leave the house, I usually kiss my wife goodbye or whatever, but we couldn't do anything like that. We couldn't even, touch, really. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, it was strange for both of us, and it was funny.
Got to be tough for an actor. So can I call you Vince or is it Vincent? What do you prefer? Al just assumed
you can call me anything you like.
Al just said Vince like he knew
I really
you.
did. Like we've been hanging out for years.
Yeah.
I feel close to him. I've been looking at him for
but
years.
what if he doesn't prefer Vince?
It's actually, it's actually Vincent, but I don't make a big deal about it.
Yeah, that was a little dig at you, Al.
I deserved it.
We're going to make a big deal about it.
We're kidding, Vincent.
So,
We're kidding.
Vincent,
Go ahead, make a big deal.
You've had some iconic roles from Law & Order to Full Metal Jacket to Kingpin. So when you're out on the street, which one is the most recognizable to fans? What do you get most?
It depends on the age, you know. Like if anybody in the military, any age they are, it's Full Metal Jacket, yeah. And anybody in their from 20 to 30 is Kingpin, and then everybody is Law & Order. So. Yeah, those are the ones. I would say right now the most popular is Kingpin for that certain age group.
I don't understand why we don't have sugar water for you. No one gets you for Men in Black.
Yeah, that wasn't bad, actually. That was
Thank
pretty
you,
good.
sir.
You really committed to that, Tori. I'm impressed. That could have gone really bad.
I have butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah.
I have vocal work.
Like that might be the end of our show.
Okay, here we go. Your daughter, Layla George, has recently made headlines regarding her divorce from Sean Penn. Divorce we take really seriously, and it's difficult, and we're honest and nuanced here on the show, especially though when it's made publicized like theirs. Just wanted to know how she's doing, how she's handling the extra eyes all on her.
She's great. I mean, I'm really lucky to have a daughter like Layla. You know, she's a fabulous woman, and you know, the story is not really about their love life because I'm a dad, and I have to stay out of that stuff.
You, sir.
I just know that my daughter is a level-headed woman, and she's going to do what she wants to do as a woman in this world. So the real story is that. The real story is that what kind of woman she is, which it's pretty amazing.
Wow. Good dad.
Jeff is a little watching.
That was beautiful.
Jeff's a father, so
yeah,
you
it's
hit it right
beautiful
in
to
the
hear
heart.
father talk like that.
Yeah,
it
is. It's very admirable. Vincent.
And thanks for skipping over Jeff like I'm not a father of three.
Because you were.
Al's seen his kids a few times, pictures and the like.
I was responding to that. Jeff had tears in his eyes.
Okay, maybe my tears are on the inside.
Okay.
My tears were the embarrassment for Tori when she said sugar water.
Okay.
Vincent, thank you for your time. Thank you for putting up with us.
Yes.
The Unforgivable drops
you
on
guys
Netflix.
are great.
Thank you. On December 10th, but will be released in limited theaters this month. Vincent, thank you again for joining us. We'll
Appreciate
be right
you,
back.
brother. Thank you.
Aaron Rodgers missed Sunday's Green Bay Packers game after testing positive for COVID-19. But that wasn't the only reason he was a trending topic on Twitter and Google. Over the summer, Rodgers said he was immunized, but then confirmed he was not vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, there are questions whether he was following the NFL's COVID-19 protocols and what kind of punishment he could face from the league. The NFL doesn't require players to get a COVID-19 vaccine, but unvaccinated players have different rules they must follow. So, let's verify. Can a player be fined for violating COVID-19 protocols? Our sources are NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy and the COVID-19 protocols established by the League and Players Association. If they don't get a jab, NFL players must follow strict rules, including getting regularly tested, wearing a mask more often, and limiting some activities in their personal lives. If players don't follow the rules, they face disciplinary action, which in some cases means a fine. For example, all players who refuse testing face a fine of $50,000, and unvaccinated players who refuse to wear a mask in their team's facilities can be fined nearly $15,000. Repeat offenders could be fined up to a week's pay and be suspended for up to 4 weeks without pay. So it's true. Players and teams can be fined for violating the league's COVID-19 protocols, and it's happened before. Last season, the New Orleans Saints and Las Vegas Raiders were fined for not following the rules, along with some individual Raiders players. League spokesman Brian McCarthy says the NFL is investigating whether Rodgers and the Packers were following the rules. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. You may not believe how widespread identity theft really is. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. So during the pandemic, identity theft rose by a whopping 45%. It turns out social media users are 30% more likely to have their identity stolen. So if you have a Facebook account, make sure you're not sharing personal info online. Most people won't ever think about getting their identity stolen, but the effects have a lasting impact on victims, and you're at a higher risk than you think. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. So call 1-800-419-0131 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Nations is hosting a summit this week to discuss the world's top climate issues, including deforestation. Some social media posts suggest choosing certain brands of chocolate could help make a difference because cocoa farmers often cut down all other types of trees to keep up with growing demand. So let's verify. Is cocoa production causing deforestation? Our sources are the environmental advocacy group Mighty Earth, the World Cocoa Foundation's Director of Environment, and 3 of the largest chocolate companies in the world. The concern about deforestation begins with where and how cocoa is grown. Cocoa plants thrive near the equator, and the World Cocoa Foundation estimates Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana produce 2/3 of the world's supply of cocoa. But to keep up with demand and expand cocoa crops, farmers often cut down all other types of trees. The WCF estimates Côte d'Ivoire lost a quarter of its forest since 2001.
And cocoa has been a major driver of that deforestation. In order to maintain their livelihoods, they'll abandon their old and diseased farms and expand into new areas, very often being forested areas, resulting in deforestation.
But since this isn't a new issue, environmentalists have long pressured chocolate companies to buy sustainable cocoa and pay farmers better so they're incentivized to do less damage to forests. In 2017, a partnership between the industry, governments, the World Cocoa Foundation, and other stakeholders started to address this by planting 10 million new trees, promoting more sustainable production, and increasing traceability. Nestle and Mars committed to buying only deforestation-free cocoa by 2025, and Hershey plans to eliminate deforestation from its entire supply chain by 2030. So it's true, cocoa production is causing deforestation, but organizations say you can help by opting for sustainably produced chocolate. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
College enrollment is down, way down. Fewer folks are signing up for classes across the board, whether it be community college, undergraduate, or graduate programs. Overall, enrollment is down 3.5%. And when you look at just students going to college straight out of high school, that's a 7% drop. The National Student Clearinghouse says we haven't seen a dip this big in more than 50 years. Community college enrollment is down about 15% in the last 2 years. Researchers say this is troubling since community colleges often enroll more low-income students and students of color. Usually, when we're coming out of a recession, college enrollments go up so folks can learn new skills to fill open jobs. That hasn't been the case this time around. The pandemic meant when the economy was recovering and more people usually go to school, recent high school grads went straight for the jobs instead. If more people aren't going to college, then there are fewer skilled workers available to hire, and the economy suffers long term. And that's connecting the dots.
Tomorrow on DBL, beauty care products will promise you the fountain of youth, but is there really a facelift in a bottle? We're uncovering the truth live in studio. And on an all-new True Crime Chronicles, a teenage girl goes missing in the middle of the night, why her 13-year-old case is only now getting national coverage.
She could be in another country, anywhere. Oh, this world's so big.
That's tomorrow on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Tori, comments?
People were saying how sexy Vincent D'Onofrio still is.
Yeah.
There's something about him.
Did they say anything about me and Jeff?
No. No, but I'm saying, and a lot of people are saying, is it CSI? He was on Law and Order Criminal Intent, for all of you asking. And I
know what's so sexy about him, that quiet confidence. He pauses before he talks, something I don't
And
do.
also he has $70 million in the bank. That too, that helps.
Sugar water.
That's not cool.
That helps.
Not cool.
He told
at
a sweet
all.
story about his daughter.
DBL is new every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Good point.
Thanksgiving travel could be even more of a hassle this year. Let's connect the dots. Right now, airports are seeing staffing issues across nearly every position. One of the places most in need of workers? Airport security. And those lines could get even longer starting next month. All federal employees, including the TSA, are now required to get the COVID vaccine, but only about 60% of TSA employees are currently vaccinated. And the deadline for them to roll up their sleeves is November 22nd, which is just 3 days before Thanksgiving. Now, the head of the TSA says he is hopeful this won't lead to a shortage of airport screeners for the holiday, but he does admit they are working on a backup plan in case a large part of their workforce is suddenly off the job. And many airlines are also weighing the same issue. American and Southwest are currently backing up plans to punish unvaccinated employees, saying they won't be fired or suspended right away. So what should you do if you're traveling this Turkey Day? Show up at the airport with several hours to spare and try to travel as early in the week as you can. That way you have some wiggle room if something goes wrong. I'm Audrey Castoreno, and that's Connecting the Dots.
Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Lawsuits begin to fly as more details emerge from the fatal Astro World Music Festival. We're hearing from a father who lost his son in the tragedy.
Could be you. Could be you. Today is me. I lost my son.
Lance Bass is shocked in this new video. Find out what brought the pop star's jaw to the floor. Law and Order actor Vincent D'Onofrio joins us live to talk about his new movie with Viola Davis and Sandra Bullock. And the unbelievable story of a mother surviving 4 gunshot wounds to the head.
We were not expected to live.
How she's fighting to end violence against women.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane? This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all just stop.
Finally here, drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. It is Tuesday, November 9th. I'm Sam here with Al, Jeff, and Tori, and we are continuing to follow the story about the crowd surge at a Houston concert that left 8 people dead and dozens more injured. One of the victims, 21-year-old Axel Acosta, died because the weight of the crowd literally suffocated him. His father is speaking out about his death. Take a look.
We're trying to make things change in this type of events. Today is me. I lost my son. It could be you, could be you. It's not the first time that he's been in a big event. You can go to Disneyland and have fun. You can go to a baseball game and have fun because they have the right security.
That poor father. He has joined one of at least 18 lawsuits against rapper Travis Scott, who headlined the festival along with the organizers of the event. Now, the FBI has launched a criminal investigation, and some officials are saying that Scott should have paused the show. Here is what the Houston's fire chief told the Today Show.
We all have a responsibility. Everybody in that at that event has a responsibility, starting from the
from the artist on down. The artist, if he notices something that's going on, he can certainly pause that performance, turn on the lights, and say, "Hey, we're not going to continue until this thing is resolved."
A lot of finger pointing. So to talk more about this, we are joined by former prosecutor, veteran trial attorney, and of course, friend of the show, Mark Eiglarsh. Mark, thank you so much for joining us again, despite these horrible circumstances. So we know there are already civil lawsuits. One of them is by the family of the 9-year-old who was nearly trampled to death. I know you're a father of 3. Mark, just put on your attorney hat here, not your father hat. Maybe they're one and the same. Who do you expect will be sued?
Everyone. Every single possible person who possibly could have reasonably foreseen this and committed any acts of negligence will be included in the civil lawsuit. And then they'll point their fingers at each other once they're all joined in the lawsuit, saying, no, you're more responsible, I'm less responsible, or I'm not responsible at all. And then they'll sort out what the total amount is owed to each person and who has to pay what percentage.
Well, Mark, that was going to be my question. Jeff, I know you got a question. I'm just going to jump in really quickly. I know they're talking about suing Travis Scott, but I thought Travis Scott was just like a person that was just the hired help, no different than the concession stand or the security or the parking detail. So why would Travis Scott be under any legal obligation to do anything but perform and then get off stage at his contractually obligated time?
And may I ask if the microphone
you
he
make
has,
an excellent.
Does that microphone he have add to that, Mark? I just wanted to add to that.
They've been debating all morning about this, Mark, just FYI.
Okay, so you're both potentially right, okay? And I really mean that. It depends upon what the facts are. He is hired help. He's not part of the security team. He's not part of the production team. So one would argue, Al is correct, he's just hired help. At the same time, if he said or did anything to encourage the crowd, to add to it, if he saw that people were being harmed, and again, we don't know what the facts are, but if he saw that people were being harmed and he continued to perform and encourage in a way that led to more injury and death, then he could be responsible. For sure, he's going to be on the lawsuits because he's got deep pockets.
I have to ask, too, is the civil lawsuit a negligent thing? Is this like he was negligent about it? And now that the FBI is involved, could jail time be a possible thing here, Mark? Because you're talking about a criminal charge now.
First question first, it's definitely a civil thing. And what it is a premises liability case. You invited everybody who bought a ticket to your venue. You owe them a duty to protect every single one of those attendees against foreseeable risks. A crowd surge is a foreseeable risk. It's happened before, it will happen again. What did you guys do about it? And criminally, where the burden of proof is much higher, see, in a civil lawsuit, it's only 51%, preponderance of the evidence. Criminal cases, proof beyond it to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt, much higher burden. I think it's going to require recklessness. And I don't know if that's there. It really does depend on the facts.
Mark, can I ask you this really quickly? I'm sorry, Sam. I just didn't understand why the fire marshal was able to go on television, it seems like, launch the first silo in terms of the court of public opinion. He was like, yeah, everybody there may have been, culpable with some responsibility. But I'm like, he didn't mention the fire department. I've been at a lot of concerts, a lot of nightclubs that have been shut down, a lot of house parties that were really rocking until the fire department showed up. So why is it now they're no longer their responsibility and now it's on Travis Scott?
Well, look, you know how it works. The highest profile cases, everybody's going to be pointing fingers and wanting to show blame. If you can get out in front of it and say you're not responsible, either because you're not or because you just want to look like you're not, then you're going to do it. And by the way, the only good news in this is that Jeff is safe, because crowd surges usually don't happen at Barry Manilow concerts.
I was wondering how you were going to swing that.
That's Jason Mraz.
Oh,
Hey,
he's a Jason Mraz guy too.
Yeah.
Oh, I said it. I said it.
I am.
Hey, I was going to stay quiet on this one, Mark. You brought me in. You called down the thunder. No, I got nothing. Sam's got a question.
Wow. Well, I just think, listen, Mark, because there's and listen, I do have empathy for everybody in this situation, but I tend to agree with Tori that there has to be some culpability with Travis Scott. It's his production, right? We know the Astro World is his. He has a history of inciting his fan base to push down those barricades. I know that Al would say something like, well, this happens all the time at punk rock shows. That's actually not true.
It's the basis of punk rock is
that is not
go
true.
against the system.
But safety is important at punk rock shows.
I have been to easily 200 punk shows. That's all I did every Thursday and Saturday night from age 14 to probably 28 years old. Every single time someone fell in a mosh pit or was crowd surfing, or if a woman or a teenager was assaulted, which did happen, you would see the lead singer, from Kurt Cobain to any singer, Slayer, Metallica, whoever it may be, say, stop it. Did that girl just get assaulted? Kick that guy out. Or stop it, get up. There's a culture there. And there's a culture at hip hop shows too. I've seen it at Wu-Tang.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is different.
But this is 50,000 people, Sam. You cannot ask one human being to police over 50,000 people.
They had a professional duty to keep those 50,000 people safe.
They shouldn't have been in there to begin with.
Well, then that's a problem.
That's on the fire marshal or whoever opened the gates to let them in.
So he's just free of all problems, Travis Scott?
Yes, he's just the entertainer. It'd be like if there was a fist fight at a wedding, you don't blame the band.
Let me add one thing.
Yeah, get in there, Mark. Get in.
Let me add one thing. Here's the thing. I love healthy debates. It's fabulous, and you guys are amazing. What we don't know are these little pesky things called the facts. While extremely unlikely, maybe Travis Scott said, look, and I don't think that this happened, but let's say he had a discussion with promoters and said, listen, how will you be keeping people safe? And he's like, don't worry. You just worry about your part. We got this. Well, we don't know that happened, but if there are facts like that seem to suggest that he's concerned and or promoters are going to be responsible for that, and his job is just to do a kick-ass show, well, wait a second. Then the debate changes a little bit.
Right.
So we just don't know what the facts are.
All right. We'll have to continue to follow this, Mark. We thank you for joining us. We thank you for the dig against Jeff.
Be well.
For more information on Mark and his law firm, go to speaktomark.com. We will be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
What's going on, guys? So Al and I any one of us can argue, even if like a very important lawyer's on, like Mark Eiglar's. I think a lot of people have a feeling of what is the amount and percentage of responsibility for Travis Scott. And Al and I just have fundamentally different takes on if you hold the microphone and you've been arrested before for inciting riots and you tweeted out, hey, let's let the wild ones in, you owe more of the pie than, let's say, someone who was on, not doing all those things. So it adds up. It all adds up. So in a court of law, it's like a pie. Why am I so hungry for pie? But it's like, the milk, the flour, you got to put all that in. You put his tweets in, you put his arrests in. And Al and I just fundamentally disagree about who has the responsibility. So we love each other, but we just disagree.
Hey, Doc, do you go to the hospital like that and you just put a jacket on? Heads up. We went a little long there.
Too long?
In your medical opinion, what's worse, that
stop, Jeff.
or the flu?
We're just going to talk about the Aaron Rodgers issue. That's what we're going to talk about today. We'll save the other one for the next one.
So I could follow up with that same question?
Aaron Rodgers thing?
Yeah.
Hi! Are we on? Okay, good. So I thought Al and I got into a great debate, and something that Al brought up that I thought of, but I think I really need to understand is, because I've been to Wu-Tang shows too, where they tell people, because all of a sudden you're seeing rap and hip hop shows start to adopt a lot of the punk rock mentality of like moshing and crowd surfing, and I think that came from Fred Durst and
I mean, it's.
But I never took into consideration, I want to give you some props here, 50,000 people compared to 1,500 people.
Yeah, it's just tough. And I mean, if somebody's been on stage just in front of a couple thousand people, if you're at a theater, like a confined theater, you can maybe only see the first 2.5 rows, and then the rest is just complete blackness. So I'm sure that periods where lights are going, but I'm sure he's trying to entertain.
Oh yeah, believe me, I have.
It's a bad precedent to set, you know?
Yeah.
So because we don't have much time.
Welcome back to DBL. We are so glad to have our Dr. Coley here with us because we've been debating about this next topic. And a lot of our viewers just want to hear the facts. So we got the person, the expert, to give us the facts. We want Dr. Coley's take on Aaron Rodgers as he recently revealed that the reason he didn't get vaccinated, and there's a number of reasons. So what's your take on someone who is spreading misinformation on his level?
You know, before I give you the facts, I'm going to rant a little bit because I am pissed off, and I think I speak for the entire
Our
medical
executive producer
community.
just cringed.
I love it.
I'm just mad.
I love it.
Like, we're fighting a deadly virus. We've got a global pandemic that we're trying to take down. We're trying to develop science at warp speed, you know, develop a vaccine in really record time to try to get our lives back to normal. And then you have the villain. You have people like Aaron Rodgers or Joe Rogan who have these platforms, and because they want to increase their followers, they're turning science on its head and promoting misinformation. And now we have to fight that, in addition to fighting the virus and dealing with the science.
But, go
Give
ahead.
us the facts, though, because I know a lot of people are saying he mentioned infertility.
Yeah.
He mentioned, please just let our viewers know what the facts are.
Yeah, so he started by saying that he might be allergic to polyethylene glycol, which is part of the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, but not part of J&J. But the chance of being allergic to that is 11 people out of 1 million. So even if you give him that, let's say he's one of those 11, there is data from the American College of Allergy and Immunology that people with PEG allergies, polyethylene glycol allergies, can still get the vaccine. So that number one reason doesn't hold up. Number two reason, he's worried about fertility. Okay, well, where does that come from? There's no evidence that it causes any issues with fertility. In fact, the opposite. Getting the virus has been known to impact male fertility because there are receptors for the virus on the male reproductive organs.
How about if you're going through like IVF, and this is personal to me because I have friends, they come see a doctor here in Denver, he's a specialist, and again, I'm not having another baby, this is for a friend. There are concerns because they spend tens of thousands of dollars trying to get pregnant and they don't want to put something else in their body. So I've had this conversation and they're like, I'm not going to do this right now because we're trying to get pregnant. What would you say to them?
I would say the most important thing to ensure the success of your pregnancy is going to be to get yourselves vaccinated. Because we know that women who get pregnant and are unvaccinated or unboosted have a much higher risk of losing the baby, of preterm labor, of birth defects, and of mom having complications as well. So you're putting all this money in. Don't you want to make sure that you set yourself up for success? And the time to do it is before you get pregnant. So that's number one. Number two, I know people worry that anything could affect their chances of getting pregnant, but scientifically, you're actually making the embryo in a petri dish and injecting it. So it's the risk of the vaccine. It doesn't exist because it's much different than the natural process of getting pregnant, which maybe hormonal fluctuations can affect.
It's interesting how, like, one part of science you're committed to, right? Which is like the fertility treatment, the IVF, but then the other part of science.
Always this duality of thought, you're right.
Yeah, you're shunning. I don't understand it. Like, do we trust doctors? Do we not trust doctors?
I think there's an irrational fear when it comes to pregnancy and babies, and because you have so much invested, like Jeff said, emotionally, financially, in every way, you forget to think about logic. You forget to embrace that science. So I'm glad you brought that up, Sam.
We gotta consult with our doctors always, and we always have Dr. Coley here, so thank goodness for that. If you have a question you want answered by our Dr. Coley, write us on social media. You can email info@dailyblastlive.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Coley, as always. We'll be right back.
Aaron Rodgers missed Sunday's Green Bay Packers game after testing positive for COVID-19. But that wasn't the only reason he was a trending topic on Twitter and Google. Over the summer, Rodgers said he was immunized, but then confirmed he was not vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, there are questions whether he was following the NFL's COVID-19 protocols and what kind of punishment he could face from the league. The NFL doesn't require players to get a COVID-19 vaccine, but unvaccinated players have different rules they must follow. So, let's verify. Can a player be fined for violating COVID-19 protocols? Our sources are NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy and the COVID-19 protocols established by the League and Players Association. If they don't get a jab, NFL players must follow strict rules, including getting regularly tested, wearing a mask more often, and limiting some activities in their personal lives. If players don't follow the rules, they face disciplinary action, which in some cases means a fine. For example, all players who refuse testing face a fine of $50,000, and unvaccinated players who refuse to wear a mask in their team's facilities can be fined nearly $15,000. Repeat offenders could be fined up to a week's pay and be suspended for up to 4 weeks without pay. So it's true. Players and teams can be fined for violating the league's COVID-19 protocols, and it's happened before. Last season, the New Orleans Saints and Las Vegas Raiders were fined for not following the rules, along with some individual Raiders players. League spokesman Brian McCarthy says the NFL is investigating whether Rodgers and the Packers were following the rules. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. Imagine being a walking, talking miracle. Our next guest survived not one gunshot to the head, but 4, all by the hand of the person she loved. The violence did not stop or start there. We will take you through this incredible story of Kimya Motley and how she escaped abuse. Now, a warning to our viewers, some may find this disturbing.
My name is Kimya Motley, and I am the Director of Communications at A Call to Men, an organization that teaches men and boys in an effort to end violence against all women and girls. But I did not get here in a conventional way. Once upon a time, I was a teacher surrounded by 4-year-olds. I was teaching pre-K, and I thought that I would live out the rest of my career as an educator. But something pretty amazing happened to me to change the whole trajectory of my career. And by amazing, I do not mean that in a great way. I met and married the man that I thought would be the man of my dreams. We were married 4 years, but after 1 year of marriage, he became very abusive in every way. I grew up in a home where domestic violence was prevalent. And because I saw this growing up, it became normalized to me. Now, there were warning signs that came in the very beginning of the relationship, but because I wouldn't know how to recognize what those warning signs were, I went right past the red flags and began a relationship with him. My ex-husband was such a great listener. As a matter of fact, I often say I gave him the blueprint to my deception. Honestly, I left because his abuse turned towards my son. And that's when I made the decision, okay, this relationship cannot go on. On September 20th, 2011, I went to go drop my daughter off at daycare. My ex-husband was actually 3 hours away from me, staying at his parents' home. He stole his mother's car. See, I just asked him for a divorce. When I arrived at the daycare center, he ambushed us. He shot me in my face, in my neck, in the back of my head, and in my back with a .38. And he did not stop there. He went on to shoot my then 10-year-old daughter 1 time at point blank range in the head. We were not expected to live.
What a miraculous backstory, Kimya. We are so glad you're here, you're okay. Neither you nor your daughter were expected to live, and I was wondering what the recovery process was like physically for both of you, but also emotionally.
Well, honestly, it's a journey when you're trying to recover from something like that. You know, initially I was in the hospital only 1 week, and they thought that I would be in the hospital for months. We did have to, of course, go through counseling, and my daughter's recovery, she was in the hospital for 5 weeks. Wow. She had to learn how to walk again, talk again, feed herself, read, write, everything all over again. We're even thinking about, you know, going back to counseling now. Yeah. Like it's been 10 years, but sometimes, you know, things may trigger you or whatever. So we go back in like it's our tune-up, you know, like you said with your car or whatever, because it's so, your mental health is so important.
Well said.
Kimya, I love your spirit.
I know.
I mean, it's just amazing. Can you take us through some of the warning signs or red flags of an abusive partner?
If they have sweeping romantic gestures, that could be a red flag. If they are rushing you into commitment and then beginning to isolate you, like with my ex-husband, immediately he began saying things like, your friends are not there for you, your family is not here for you, you know, I'm the only one that's here for you. And then this is a weird one, but kind of placing you on a pedestal. You want to be told that you're beautiful and you're awesome and, you know, all of this stuff. But when they place you on that pedestal, it gives a lot of room for you to fall. But if the person you're dating has few friends or maybe none at all, that's a huge red flag.
And if you can speak directly to their mothers, fathers, caretakers of young boys in this moment, what would you say?
Well, at A Call to Men, we teach a lot about something that we call the man box. However, this box sets the groundwork for women and people that are marginalized to be hurt, but it's also dangerous for our boys as well. So as our sons are growing up, it's important for their moms, their parents, whomever, to show them warm love. It's okay to give our sons hugs and kisses. That's not just for daughters. It's okay for them to cry. It's part of the natural cycle of things. Let them cry. And then they need to be able to try new things. Try new things that are not caught up with traditional gender roles. Like, if you know, our sons need to know how to cook and clean and do all those things that are traditionally supposed to be things set aside for just girls. And then I would finally say, encourage them to be kind, bold, and brave.
Wow. Kimia, I can't get over you. You're unbelievable. I mean, your daughter is so lucky to have you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and our viewers. Now, DBL Nation, if you or anyone you know is suffering from domestic violence, take a screenshot, visit this site below. We are also going to have a link on our website and our social medias. You can create a safety plan and get a copy of Kimia's memoir, Born of Violence. We love it. We can't wait to spread the news. Head over to Amazon, get your book, get prepared, get ready, and give back like the beautiful Kimia. Thank you so much for your advocacy and help. We'll be right back.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
The United Nations is hosting a summit this week to discuss the world's top climate issues, including deforestation. Some social media posts suggest choosing certain brands of chocolate could help make a difference because cocoa farmers often cut down all other types of trees to keep up with growing demand. So let's verify. Is cocoa production causing deforestation? Our sources are the environmental advocacy group Mighty Earth, the World Cocoa Foundation's Director of Environment, and 3 of the largest chocolate companies in the world. The concern about deforestation begins with where and how cocoa is grown. Cocoa plants thrive near the equator, and the World Cocoa Foundation estimates Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana produce 2/3 of the world's supply of cocoa. But to keep up with demand and expand cocoa crops, farmers often cut down all other types of trees. The WCF estimates Côte d'Ivoire lost 1/4 of its forest since 2001.
And cocoa has been a major driver of that deforestation. In order to maintain their livelihoods, they'll abandon their old and diseased farms and expand into new areas, very often being forested areas, resulting in deforestation.
But since this isn't a new issue, environmentalists have long pressured chocolate companies to buy sustainable cocoa and pay farmers better, so they're incentivized to do less damage to forests. In 2017, a partnership between the industry, governments, the World Cocoa Foundation, and other stakeholders started to address this by planting 10 million new trees, promoting more sustainable production, and increasing traceability. Nestle and Mars committed to buying only deforestation-free cocoa by 2025, and Hershey plans to eliminate deforestation from its entire supply chain by 2030. So it's true, cocoa production is causing deforestation, but organizations say you can help by opting for sustainably produced chocolate. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
College enrollment is down, way down. Fewer folks are signing up for classes across the board, whether it be community college, undergraduate, or graduate programs. Overall, enrollment is down 3.5%. And when you look at just students going to college straight out of high school, that's a 7% drop. The National Student Clearinghouse says we haven't seen a dip this big in more than 50 years. Community college enrollment is down about 15% in the last 2 years. Researchers say this is troubling since community colleges often enroll more low-income students and students of color. Usually, when we're coming out of a recession, college enrollments go up so folks can learn new skills to fill open jobs. That hasn't been the case this time around. The pandemic meant when the economy was recovering and more people usually go to school, recent high school grads went straight for the jobs instead. If more people aren't going to college, then there are fewer skilled workers available to hire, and the economy suffers long term. And that's connecting the dots.
If you are leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show online. But if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Did Pete Davidson just address the romance rumors with Kim, the clip that everyone is talking about? Plus, Jeff Bezos' girlfriend is caught on camera fawning over Leonardo DiCaprio. His reaction after the break.
Thanksgiving travel could be even more of a hassle this year. Let's connect the dots. Right now, airports are seeing staffing issues across nearly every position. One of the places most in need of workers? Airport security. And those lines could get even longer starting next month. All federal employees, including the TSA, are now required to get the COVID vaccine, but only about 60% of TSA employees are currently vaccinated. And the deadline for them to roll up their sleeves is November 22nd, which is just 3 days before Thanksgiving. Now, the head of the TSA says he is hopeful this won't lead to a shortage of airport screeners for the holiday, but he does admit they are working on a backup plan in case a large part of their workforce is suddenly off the job. And many airlines are also weighing the same issue. American and Southwest are currently backing up plans to punish unvaccinated employees, saying they won't be fired or suspended right away. So what should you do if you're traveling this Turkey Day? Show up at the airport with several hours to spare and try to travel as early in the week as you can. That way you have some wiggle room if something goes wrong. I'm Audrey Castoreno, and that's Connecting the Dots.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
No.
Y'all just
It's
stop.
finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Al, and Tori. So, he may be the richest man in the world, but Jeff Bezos can still get his ego bruised. Check out this video that was shared on Twitter of Jeff Bezos' girlfriend looking up at Leonardo DiCaprio, appearing, well, a bit smitten. The video has gone viral, with Leo being labeled Mr. Steal Your Girl. Leo also appears to be standing on something because he's only 3 inches taller than Jeff. Bezos took note and posted this photo on Twitter, posing with a sign that said, "Danger, steep cliff, fatal drop." He captioned it with, "Leo, come over here. I want to show you something."
I think
good one.
The best thing, you know what though, Jeff?
He's
the
trying
best
to be
thing,
funny.
no, he's trying to be funny because there's a little bit of truth there. I don't think that he wants to kill Leonardo DiCaprio, but he wouldn't be making a joke if something didn't happen. There would be no joke to be made. But the fact is, his girl, Sam, his woman, his partner, was way out of pocket. way out of pocket.
I gotta
Like,
agree
you
with
cannot be smiling like that when you are with your significant other. I just think that there are lines and boundaries with personal respect, and I would be out of pocket too if I did that with my.
Not only was it googly eyes, she kind of like she leaned
and then
in.
Sam,
She
when he
almost
moved,
touched him
she
with her
moved
chest.
with him. They moved in when he backed up because he was uncomfortable, and she moved as
Can
well.
we see it again? There's almost a chest bump.
Now watch.
You see that?
He's gonna
almost
move.
Bumps him with her chest.
He's gonna move, and look, she's right behind him. Like,
She's like, wait, I'm coming with you.
It's like love bubbles are coming out of her eyes.
It can't happen.
It's not right.
Those heart, the heart bubbles, the heart emojis. Yeah. What do you
Listen.
think, Jeff? How would you feel if Jordan was like that?
I
with
don't
Leo?
blame her. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. I might have given him a little chest bump. You know what I mean?
She could sneak a peek, but she would not disrespect you and be like that.
I agree with you, Jeff Bezos. Like, he was a little hurt about it because all the money in the world can't buy you happiness, right? Some people are like, yeah, I'd be much happier. It definitely doesn't make you look like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
So there you go. All the money in the world, you're still not Leonardo
What if he was
DiCaprio.
just trying to be light about it and was being funny?
No, he was hurt.
I think it went too viral for him.
And I think it's okay for you to be hurt by that.
yeah.
That's a little disrespectful. Sam, would you care?
What?
But if your partner did
No,
that?
I'm in Jeff's boat. If Mark and I were like out and about and some gorgeous, like if like Halle Berry walked by him and Mark was like, Halle, I'd be like, I don't blame you, buddy. I
Really?
don't.
Wow.
Well, it's not like it's, oh, come on, Al.
That can't happen, man.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to
Give me
set
a
that
break.
precedent.
Oh, it's fine. All right. Well, I guess when you've been together as long as Jeff and I have been, we're just like, right?
Listen, I'm already. That's all you. That's all you.
Pete Davidson addressed those Kim Kardashian dating rumors, sort of. During an appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers, Seth appeared to give Pete the chance to come clean about his relationship with Kim. Well, take a listen to what he said.
There's a lot of people I walk by, people are like whispering and, making eyes at me. And, but it is true. I do have a show on Tubi coming out. Yeah. The Tubi. A lot of people are shocked that I could get on a show like Tubi.
Kind of danced around it.
Yeah, I do have to say something publicly. I do owe you a sandwich. They are rumored to be lightly dating.
Yeah,
and
they are.
Okay.
Why just Jeff? I said
we
it as
all
well.
said it.
And we have multiple clips.
First of all,
I have bet a sandwich, and I'm trying to own up to the fact that I thought...
No. You're going to get shamed for like 4 minutes straight.
Okay.
You told me while I sat over there, I'm like, Tori, I think they're together. You go, I promise. And you scolded me. I promise. I promise.
I thought
They
it
are
was
not
their
together.
You did.
She was scolding me and pointing at me like a child.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
And now you're sandwich shopping. But it needs to be for all of us.
It needs to be 3 sandwiches.
Okay, 3 sandwiches. I'll get the vegan. I'll get everything ready.
And the apology?
And the apology. I also apologize. Do I think he's going to be... I apologize for saying it patronizingly and for also being wrong, but I will say this. I don't see Pete Davidson as like North stepdad. I see this as a
said that.
rebound. I know,
but the
and I
thing is-
apologize.
They're having a good time.
They're having a good
But why are you guys just leaving it? They're just having a good time because on paper they don't make sense. But I would think the person you end up with a lot of times you guys don't make sense on paper, but the chemistry is just there. Why is it that crazy that two people that are in entertainment have kind of had tumultuous, parts of their life, have kind of come out of that and are looking for something stable? Why couldn't they last?
I don't know if he wants 4 stepkids. That's a lot to take.
You're not allowed to talk about this anymore.
Fair.
You lost your privileges.
All right, next story.
So, Jeff's buddy Lance Bass had a pretty amazing reaction to something recently. All right, I want each of you to guess, okay, as to what he is surprised by. So first, I want you guys to all guess. Tori, what do you think he's so surprised by?
He just saw Pete Davidson in the shower. I'm just kidding.
There is a rumor about that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was good.
That was good.
Really,
That was good.
Wow.
Okay, your turn.
I want to say
You know him.
I don't know what happened, but
What do you think?
I want to say it's something to do with his kids, but I was going to guess like the godparent of his kids, but that's way too excited. Maybe like JT's the godparent. I don't know.
Okay, all right, Justin Timberlake. What about you?
The only thing I thought about when I saw this is weird is like, when people find out about their backgrounds, like Morgan Freeman finds out. So like maybe he found out like he's related to somebody famous.
Oh.
Something.
All right.
Something, like it's got to be something to get that face.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah?
Yes.
I swear I haven't.
You really don't know?
I swear
No.
on my grandmother I have not looked predicted this. I swear. I swear.
Wow. Are we still talking about pee?
Yeah.
Okay, Lance and his husband were on the Ancestry show, 2 Lies and a Leak, where Lance found out something shocking about his family history.
Wait, that's right.
Point.
Yes.
Watch. And the answer is B, Britney Spears.
Are you kidding me? I don't care about losing because this is amazing.
I know, I guess you really are the true winner here.
Oh my gosh. Wait, how am I related to Britney Spears?
Britney is your 6th cousin once removed. Boom!
First of all, the whole once removed, twice removed is so
it's
confusing,
so
but very
irritating.
cool. But I don't understand it.
Nobody does. No, it's like the cloud. What is it? We don't know. We don't know.
Do you understand that whole once removed, twice removed?
Is that through marriage?
It's the thing.
I don't
with
know
the
if we
son
should do
and the
that
kid.
live on TV.
Okay, so
but
we can put that aside. What would you do?
Michael Dean was shaking his head. He thinks it's through marriage.
I thought it was children or something.
What do you think about your buddy Lance now being related to Britney?
You're dropping that line a lot. I haven't talked to Lance in a minute.
Oh, well,
but
I thought.
he's my buddy. He's my buddy.
I'm sorry, you went to his wedding.
I know, but you said it like 3 times.
Yeah, because I was hoping you'd have an inside scoop. You knew we were doing this story today, right?
We also knew we were doing the story where Tori was wrong, and we didn't get any video of that.
So no inside scoop. Okay.
No inside scoop. Yeah, I guessed wrong. I thought it was going to be something about their.
What would you do if you found out you were related to Leonardo DiCaprio? Would you call and be like, hey, yo, I'm your 8th cousin twice removed?
Cuz.
Does it lose something after the first cousin?
Yeah.
Whenever somebody says that's my second cousin, I'd be like, you don't know that.
I think
no
frankly,
one knows their
someone,
second cousin.
you can like marry your 3rd cousin, can't you? It's like what? No, I just mean it's.
You can marry your first cousin.
Yeah, 6th cousin once removed is
So
pretty
the
far.
once removed, I was just told by Courtney, our producer, that it means 1 generation.
I still don't get it.
How do you not get it? 1 generation separates you two. Second removed means 2 generations separate you two. All right. Did you know that I recently found out that we're Jewish, my family?
No.
From one of the heritage.
Why are we just finding this out? That's
I've
awesome.
told Tori. I've told Sharon.
The Jews.
The 2 Jewish Yay, Sharon!
Wow.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
going right to HR.
My husband is Jewish.
How many more minutes,
Never
Jeff?
really knew my dad's
Me and Jeff will be in
history.
HR in 23 minutes.
welcome you.
My
We welcome
dad's
you.
side, we found out, is Jewish, and I'm very proud.
Shalom.
Now thank you. Yeah. So.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Hey, Al, guess what I just found out? What's up, homie?
Hey, that's not fair, you guys.
I'm saying congratulations.
I just wanted to share it with Tori and Sharon. 1, because they're very close to me. 2, so I could learn more about my heritage.
I think that's awesome.
Thank you very much. Okay, a new poll found that some pet owners can go a little overboard with their fur babies. The study looked at 2,000 pet owners and found that 97% said they always let their pet lick or kiss them. 22% said they share their food at the dinner table with their pets.
Ew.
2 out of 3 people let their pets jump on the furniture, and nearly 60% said their furry friend has their own spot on the couch. But get this, 6% admit to taking baths or bathing with their pet. Tori, you love your dogs. Have you ever done the above?
I've done several. Okay, before I judge, let me explain. Some people have children. Right now, I don't. I have fur children. They're really important to me. They're rescues. They're old. They're like aging. One's got 3 legs. So I take really good care of them. They give me a lot of comfort. And in response, I learned about responsibility, empathy, taking a walk, exercise, getting some sunlight. I came out of a depression with my dog, so I really appreciate this. I get close. I get a little close.
Beautifully said. Even Sierra over there was nodding her head in agreement with you.
Okay, thank you. This is me and my dogs. That's Josie,
Okay,
right?
but-
She almost died, and she came back. This is us at a sunset together. She doesn't look that
She looks
interested.
over it.
How many pictures did you send in?
Nine.
I had a baby and I had 1.
Wow, she did send
This
in a
can
bunch.
go overboard, though,
We
Sam.
did do the bath the other day, and that was the first we've ever done it. And I did
You
not.
got in the bath.
Listen, hold up. There's context, because I also don't agree with that. Now, the dog does sleep with me in bed, blah, blah, blah. Always sleeps with Sophie, by the way. Let's take a look at Scruffy and
Scruff
Sophie.
Muffin.
There's Scruff Muffin, but look at Scruff and Soph. Always sleep together, those 2. 2 peas in a pod. So we were in the bathtub together. Yes, I do take a bath with Miles and Sophie because Miles is still little and I need to hold him. Sophie's right here. We have a big tub. And Scruffy, bless her little heart, sits right by the tub and waits for us. Well, Scruffy jumped up to the side. And Sophie was like, can Scruffy please come in? And I said, no, Sophie, that's not right. So then at the end of the bath, I said, sure. Scruffy jumped right in. We gave Scruffy a little bath too. Then Scruffy went out. I kind of like washed her down, and then I took like the shower head and I re-rinsed off Sophie and Miles. So I did, I feel like, do it the right way.
You multitasked.
I did it the right way.
It's a great story to show that you've just taught your daughters that boundaries don't exist.
What do you mean?
Boundaries are there for a reason. That's why there are no animals in the tub. There's no animals at the table, all right? Boundaries, all right? I'm sorry. There's a difference between man and beast. You're down there when I'm done. Beast. They're animals.
Wow.
They're animals.
Beast.
They're not eating at the table with me or getting in the tub.
Well, at least we know what clip we're going to send in for our Emmy clip right there. Sam's tub story with Scruff.
Coming up on DBL, you know him from Law and Order and Full Metal Jacket. Vincent D'Onofrio is here live. Do not go away. We are back with him in just minutes.
Closed captioning provided by
From the new movie he's promoting, it's Sandra Bullock is in it. She's a star. Sandra. Sorry. Sandra Bullock, Unforgivable. Okay, so we're gonna bump in with a
He's from Full Metal Jacket, and he said, I want Sugar Water, the alien in Men in Black. Do you guys remember him? That's who we're interviewing.
Right. And then we'll go into, you know, this is a heavy movie. She goes to prison for murder. She's unreleased. But anything fun happened with Viola on set? He has a story about how it was COVID and they got shut down, and then when he came back, he couldn't touch Viola, who was his wife.
Oh,
that was very weird.
That's
right?
interesting.
So,
Yeah.
like, that's what he's going to talk about. Then we're going to talk to him about like all of his iconic roles that he's had, and when he's out on the street, is there something like is he more recognizable for one? He is. He'll tell you that.
The alien. Don't tell us. Don't tell us.
I know. You'll see.
Sugar Water.
But if he doesn't, he has a great story about something that just happened to him recently with a fan.
Okay, cool.
If he
I
doesn't
like
go
those.
into it, ask him.
Okay.
But I'm sure he will.
Megan kicks butt at
And
this.
then we're going to ask him if he's going to come back for this comic book thing. We're going to ask him about his role on Jerry Falwell.
So I follow up with that Kingpin?
Yes. And then the last question we're doing is about his daughter, Layla George,
Who is divorced from Sean Penn.
getting a divorce from Sean
Isn't that
Penn.
crazy?
He's very private. He says he will answer it, but he doesn't.
I'm not trying to make tabloidy about
We're not
it,
trying
totally.
to do that. We're just wondering how she's doing.
Remember
and then we're
when-
going to promote the movie at the
Remember when he goes
end.
like this?
Okay.
Your skin's falling off.
Thank you guys.
Your skin's falling off your face. What was his name in that movie?
What is it? Edgar!
Your skin's falling off, Edgar. Your skin's falling off your face.
What's that from?
Men in Black. I want Sugar Water.
Edgar in that.
It is, isn't it?
It was Hyde.
Hyde?
Hyde.
No, it's Edgar and Bug. It is Edgar. You were just making up something.
No, his name's like Hyde, or like a.
You sound like you don't know.
No, it was not Edgar.
It is. I'm looking at the internet web.
She's right.
Edgar.
Your life starts here now, not 20 years ago.
She did her time.
She killed somebody in cold blood. If that were any of your black sons who had been in this system, they would be dead.
Wow, who deserves a second chance? Sandra Bullock's new movie, The Unforgivable, tests that very question. And today we are joined by one of the film's stars. Please welcome to the show the mesmerizing force that is Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Vincent, welcome to the show.
Hey, everyone.
Hey. Oh, so first and foremost, we're all big fans here. You're so talented. And the remarkable Viola Davis, very talented as well, plays your wife in this movie. But this is actually the second time you two have worked together. How was this experience different from the time that you guys worked on Law and Order together?
It was much more, I guess, intimate is the way to say it. We got to know each other a little bit. Back in the day when I was doing Law and Order, everything, you know, we worked so much, Kate Irby and I. And so when the guest stars would come in, we would spend a little time with them, but not a lot of time. Whereas with a movie, it's a completely different set to be on. And so it was really nice. You know, she's such an amazing lady. And also, as you know, she's just an incredible actress. So just to hang out with her and talk with her and play her husband in something was fantastic.
All right, well, Vince, obviously, this is a heavy movie, and we've been hearing a lot of bad stuff from sets, but I'm hoping you have some fun stories from set involving Viola.
Well, the most strange thing about the whole thing was we were doing it when we went back to we had to stop when COVID happened in March, and then we had to take a break, and then we went back. And when we went back, it was Netflix was one of the first companies to come up with how to do it and how to do it right and safely. So we had to wear masks and shields and stuff. But Viola and I had never done a scene together yet. We didn't play husband and wife yet. So now we find ourselves on a set wearing masks and shields for rehearsal, and you're only allowed to take them off when when the camera's rolling for real. But so that was like, we were wondering, like, how are we going to do this? Like, we can't, like, at that point, you couldn't even touch, you couldn't. So we had to figure out a kind of looks between us and just a kind of vibe rather than, because when you leave a house, like if there's a scene where you're with your husband or with your wife and you have to leave the house, I usually kiss my wife goodbye or whatever, but we couldn't do anything like that. We couldn't even, touch really. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, it was strange for both of us, and it was funny.
Got to be tough for an actor. So can I call you Vince or is it Vincent? What do you prefer? Al just assumed
you can call me anything you like.
Al just said Vince like he knew
I really did. Like we've been hanging out for years.
Yeah.
I feel close to him. I've been looking at him for
but
years.
What if he doesn't prefer Vince?
It's actually, it's actually Vincent, but I don't make a big deal about it.
Yeah, that was a little dig at you, Al.
I deserved it.
We're going to make a big deal about it.
No.
We're kidding, Vincent.
So, Vincent,
go ahead, make a big deal.
You've had some iconic roles from Law & Order to Full Metal Jacket to Kingpin. So when you're out on the street, which one is the most recognizable to fans? What do you get most?
It depends on the age, Like if anybody in the military, any age they are, it's Full Metal Jacket, And anybody in there from 20 to 30 is Kingpin, and then everybody is Law & Order. So. Yeah, those are the ones. I would say right now the most popular is Kingpin for that certain age group.
I don't understand why we don't have sugar water for you. No one gets you for Men in Black.
Yeah, that wasn't bad, actually.
Thank
that was pretty good.
Sir.
You really committed to that, Tori. I'm impressed. That could have gone really bad.
I have butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah.
I have vocal work.
Like that might be the end of our show.
Okay, here we go. Your daughter, Layla George, has recently made headlines regarding her divorce from Sean Penn. Divorce we take really seriously, and it's difficult, and we're honest and nuanced here on the show, especially though when it's made publicized like theirs. Just wanted to know how she's doing, how she's handling the extra eyes all on her.
She's great. I mean, I'm really lucky to have a daughter like Layla. She's a fabulous woman, and the story is not really about their love life because I'm a dad, and I have to stay out of that stuff.
Yes, sir.
I just know that my daughter is a level-headed woman, and she's going to do what she wants to do as a woman in this world. So the real story is that. The real story is that what kind of woman she is, which it's pretty amazing.
Wow. Good dad.
Jeff is a little watching.
Yeah. That was beautiful.
Jeff's a father, so
yeah,
you
it's
hit it
beautiful
right in
to
the
hear
heart.
father talk like that.
Yeah,
it is.
It's very admirable. Vincent,
and thanks for skipping over Jeff like I'm not a father of three.
Because you were.
Al's seen his kids a few times, pictures and the like.
I was responding to that. Jeff had tears in his eyes.
Okay, maybe my tears are on the inside.
Okay.
My tears were the embarrassment for Tori when she said sugar walk.
Okay. Vincent, thank you for your time. Thank you for putting up with us.
Yes.
The Unforgivable drops
you guys
on
are
Netflix.
great.
Thank you. On December 10th, but will be released in limited theaters this month. Vincent, thank you again for joining us. We'll
Appreciate
be right
you,
back.
brother. Thank you.
Bye.
Aaron Rodgers missed Sunday's Green Bay Packers game after testing positive for COVID-19. But that wasn't the only reason he was a trending topic on Twitter and Google. Over the summer, Rodgers said he was immunized, but then confirmed he was not vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, there are questions whether he was following the NFL's COVID-19 protocols and what kind of punishment he could face from the league. The NFL doesn't require players to get a COVID-19 vaccine, but unvaccinated players have different rules they must follow. So let's verify. Can a player be fined for violating COVID-19 protocols? Our sources are NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy and the COVID-19 protocols established by the League and Players Association. If they don't get a jab, NFL players must follow strict rules, including getting regularly tested, wearing a mask more often, and limiting some activities in their personal lives. If players don't follow the rules, they face disciplinary action, which in some cases means a fine. For example, all players who refuse testing face a fine of $50,000, and unvaccinated players who refuse to wear a mask in their team's facilities can be fined nearly $15,000. Repeat offenders could be fined up to a week's pay and be suspended for up to 4 weeks without pay. So it's true, players and teams can be fined for violating the league's COVID-19 protocols, and it's happened before. Last season, the New Orleans Saints and Las Vegas Raiders were fined for not following the rules, along with some individual Raiders players. League spokesman Brian McCarthy says the NFL is investigating whether Rodgers and the Packers were following the rules. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. You may not believe how widespread identity theft really is. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. So during the pandemic, identity theft rose by a whopping 45%. It turns out social media users are 30% more likely to have their identity stolen. So if you have a Facebook account, make sure you're not sharing personal info online. Most people won't ever think about getting their identity stolen, but the effects have a lasting impact on victims, and you're at a higher risk than you think. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. So call 1-800-419-0131 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
Nations is hosting a summit this week to discuss the world's top climate issues, including deforestation. Some social media posts suggest choosing certain brands of chocolate could help make a difference because cocoa farmers often cut down all other types of trees to keep up with growing demand. So let's verify. Is cocoa production causing deforestation? Our sources are the environmental advocacy group Mighty Earth, the World Cocoa Foundation's Director of Environment, and 3 of the largest chocolate companies in the world. The concern about deforestation begins with where and how cocoa is grown. Cocoa plants thrive near the equator, and the World Cocoa Foundation estimates Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana produce 2/3 of the world's supply of cocoa. But to keep up with demand and expand cocoa crops, farmers often cut down all other types of trees. The WCF estimates Côte d'Ivoire lost a quarter of its forest since 2001.
And cocoa has been a major driver of that deforestation. In order to maintain their livelihoods, they'll abandon their old and diseased farms and expand into new areas, very often being forested areas, resulting in deforestation.
But since this isn't a new issue, environmentalists have long pressured chocolate companies to buy sustainable cocoa and pay farmers better, so they're incentivized to do less damage to forests. In 2017, a partnership between the industry, governments, the World Cocoa Foundation, and other stakeholders started to address this by planting 10 million new trees, promoting more sustainable production, and increasing traceability. Nestle and Mars committed to buying only deforestation-free cocoa by 2025, and Hershey plans to eliminate deforestation from its entire supply chain by 2030. So it's true, cocoa production is causing deforestation, but organizations say you can help by opting for sustainably produced chocolate. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
College enrollment is down, way down. Fewer folks are signing up for classes across the board, whether it be community college, undergraduate, or graduate programs. Overall, enrollment is down 3.5%. And when you look at just students going to college straight out of high school, that's a 7% drop. The National Student Clearinghouse says we haven't seen a dip this big in more than 50 years. Community college enrollment is down about 15% in the last 2 years. Researchers say this is troubling since community colleges often enroll more low-income students and students of color. Usually, when we're coming out of a recession, college enrollments go up so folks can learn new skills to fill open jobs. That hasn't been the case this time around. The pandemic meant when the economy was recovering and more people usually go to school, recent high school grads went straight for the jobs instead. If more people aren't going to college, then there are fewer skilled workers available to hire, and the economy suffers long term. And that's connecting the dots.
Tomorrow on DBL, beauty care products will promise you the fountain of youth, but is there really a facelift in a bottle? We're uncovering the truth live in studio. And on an all-new True Crime Chronicles, a teenage girl goes missing in the middle of the night, why her 13-year-old case is only now getting national coverage.
She could be in another country, anywhere. Oh, this world's so big.
That's tomorrow on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Tori, comments?
People were saying how sexy Vincent D'Onofrio still is.
Yeah.
There's something about him.
Did they say anything about me and Jeff?
No. No, but I'm saying, and a lot of people are saying, is it CSI? He was on Law & Order Criminal Intent, for all of you asking. And I
know what's so sexy about him, that quiet confidence. He pauses before he talks, something I don't
And
do.
also he has $70 million in the bank. That too, that helps.
Sugar water.
That's not cool.
That helps.
Not cool.
He told
at
a sweet
all.
story about his daughter.
DBL is new every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Good point.
Thanksgiving travel could be even more of a hassle this year. Let's connect the dots. Right now, airports are seeing staffing issues across nearly every position. One of the places most in need of workers? Airport security. And those lines could get even longer starting next month. All federal employees, including the TSA, are now required to get the COVID vaccine, but only about 60% of TSA employees are currently vaccinated. And the deadline for them to roll up their sleeves is November 22nd, which is just 3 days before Thanksgiving. Now, the head of the TSA says he is hopeful this won't lead to a shortage of airport screeners for the holiday, but he does admit they are working on a backup plan in case a large part of their workforce is suddenly off the job. And many airlines are also weighing the same issue. American and Southwest are currently backing up plans to punish unvaccinated employees, saying they won't be fired or suspended right away. So what should you do if you're traveling this Turkey Day? Show up at the airport with several hours to spare and try to travel as early in the week as you can. That way you have some wiggle room if something goes wrong. I'm Audrey Castoreno, and that's Connecting the Dots.
Here's what we're talking about today on Daily Blast Live.
Lawsuits begin to fly as more details emerge from the fatal Astro World Music Festival. We're hearing from a father who lost his son in the tragedy.
Could be you, could be you. Today is me. I lost my son.
Lance Bass is shocked in this new video. Find out what brought the pop star's jaw to the floor. Law & Order actor Vincent D'Onofrio joins us live to talk about his new movie with Viola Davis and Sandra Bullock. And the unbelievable story of a mother surviving 4 gunshot wounds to the head.
We were not expected to live.
How she's fighting to end violence against women.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane? This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Finally here, drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. It is Tuesday, November 9th. I am Sam here with Al, Jeff, and Tori, and we are continuing to follow the story about the crowd surge at a Houston concert that left 8 people dead and dozens more injured. One of the victims, 21-year-old Axel Acosta, died because the weight of the crowd literally suffocated him. His father is speaking out about his death. Take a look.
We're trying to make things change in this type of events. Today is me. I lost my son. It could be you, it could be you. It's not the first time that he's been in a big event. You can go to Disneyland and have fun. You can go to a baseball game and have fun because they have the right security.
That poor father. He has joined one of at least 18 lawsuits against rapper Travis Scott, who headlined the festival along with the organizers of the event. Now, the FBI has launched a criminal investigation, and some officials are saying that Scott should have paused the show. Here is what the Houston's fire chief told the Today Show.
We all have a responsibility. Everybody in that at that event has a responsibility, starting from the artist on down. The artist, if he notices something that's going on, he can certainly pause that performance, turn on the lights, and say, "Hey, we're not going to continue until this thing is resolved."
A lot of finger pointing. So to talk more about this, we are joined by former prosecutor, veteran trial attorney, and of course, friend of the show, Mark Eiglarsh. Mark, thank you so much for joining us again, despite these horrible circumstances. So we know there are already civil lawsuits. One of them is by the family of the 9-year-old who was nearly trampled to death. I know you're a father of 3. Mark, just put on your attorney hat here, not your father hat. Maybe they're one and the same. Who do you expect will be sued?
Everyone. Every single possible person who possibly could have reasonably foreseen this and committed any acts of negligence will be included in the civil lawsuit. And then they'll point their fingers at each other once they're all joined in the lawsuit, saying, no, you're more responsible, I'm less responsible, or I'm not responsible at all. And then they'll sort out what the total amount is owed to each person and who has to pay what percent.
Well, Mark, that was going to be my question. Jeff, I know you got a question. I'm just going to jump in really quickly. I know they're talking about suing Travis Scott, but I thought Travis Scott was just like a person that was just the hired help, no different than the concession stand or the security or the parking detail. So why would Travis Scott be under any legal obligation to do anything but perform and then get off stage at his contractually obligated time?
And may I ask if the microphone
you
he
make
has,
an excellent.
Does the microphone he have add to that, Mark? I just wanted to add to that.
They've been debating all morning about this, Mark, just FYI.
Okay, so you're both potentially right, okay? And I really mean that. It depends upon what the facts are. He is hired help. He's not part of the security team. He's not part of the production team. So one would argue, Al is correct, he's just hired help. At the same time, if he said or did anything to encourage the crowd, to add to it, if he saw that people were being harmed, and again, we don't know what the facts are, but if he saw that people were being harmed and he continued to perform and encourage in a way that led to more injury and death, then he could be responsible. For sure, he's going to be on the lawsuits because he's got deep pockets.
I have to ask, too, is the civil lawsuit a negligent thing? Is this like he was negligent about it? And now that the FBI is involved, could jail time be a possible thing here, Mark? Because you're talking about a criminal charge now.
First question first. It's definitely a civil thing. And what it is a premises liability case. You invited everybody who bought a ticket to your venue. You owe them a duty to protect every single one of those attendees against foreseeable risks. A crowd surge is a foreseeable risk. It's happened before. It will happen again. What did you guys do about it? And criminally, where the burden of proof is much higher. See, in a civil lawsuit, it's only 51%, preponderance of the evidence. Criminal cases, proof beyond it to the exclusion of every reasonable doubt, much higher burden. I think it's going to require recklessness. And I don't know if that's there. It really does depend on the fact.
Mark, can I ask you this really quickly? I'm sorry, Sam. I just didn't understand why the fire marshal was able to go on television, it seems like, launch the first silo in terms of the court of public opinion. He was like, yeah, everybody there may have been, culpable with some responsibility. But I'm like, he didn't mention the fire department. I've been at a lot of concerts, a lot of nightclubs that have been shut down, a lot of house parties that were really rocking until the fire department showed up. So why is it now they're no longer their responsibility, and now it's on Travis Scott?
Well, look, you know how it works. The highest profile cases, everybody's going to be pointing fingers and wanting to show blame. If you can get out in front of it and say you're not responsible, either because you're not or because you just want to look like you're not, then you're going to do it. And by the way, the only good news in this is that Jeff is safe, because crowd surges usually don't happen at Barry Manilow concerts.
I was wondering how you were going to swing that.
That's Jason Mraz.
Hey, he's a Jason Mraz guy, too.
Yeah. Oh, I said it. I said it.
I am.
Hey, I was going to stay quiet on this one, Mark. You brought me in. You called down the thunder. No, I got nothing. Sam's got a question.
Wow. Well, I just think, listen, Mark, because there's and listen, I do have empathy for everybody in this situation, but I tend to agree with Tori that there has to be some culpability with Travis Scott. It's his production, right? We know the Astro World is his. He has a history of inciting his fan base to push down those barricades. I know that Al would say something like, well, this happens all the time at punk rock shows. That's actually not true.
It's the basis of punk rock is break,
that is not
go against the system.
But safety is important at punk rock shows.
I have been to easily 200 punk shows. That's all I did every Thursday and Saturday night from age 14 to probably 28 years old. Every single time someone fell in a mosh pit or was crowd surfing, or if a woman or a teenager was assaulted, which did happen, you would see the lead singer, from Kurt Cobain to any singer, Slayer, Metallica, whoever it may be, say, stop it. Did that girl just get assaulted? Kick that guy out. Or stop it, get up. There's a culture there. And there's a culture at hip hop shows too. I've seen it at Wu-Tang.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is different.
But this is 50,000 people, Sam. You cannot ask one human being to police over 50,000 people.
They had a professional duty to keep those 50,000 people safe.
They shouldn't have been in there to begin with.
Well, then that's the problem.
That's on the fire marshal or whoever opened the gates to let them in.
So he's just free of all problems, Travis Scott?
Yes, he's just the entertainer. It'd be like if there was a fist fight at a wedding. You don't blame the band.
Let me add one thing.
Yeah, get in there, Mark. Let
me add one thing. Here's the thing. I love healthy debates. It's fabulous, and you guys are amazing. What we don't know are these little pesky things called the facts. While extremely unlikely, maybe Travis Scott said, look, and I don't think that this happened, but let's say he had a discussion with promoters and said, listen, how will you be keeping people safe? And he's like, don't worry. You just worry about your part. We got this. Well, we don't know that happened, but if there are facts like that seem to suggest that he's concerned and or promoters are going to be responsible for that, and his job is just to do a kick-ass show, well, wait a second. Then the debate changes a little bit.
Right.
So we just don't know what the facts are.
All right. We'll have to continue to follow this, Mark. We thank you for joining us. We thank you for the dig against Jeff.
Be well.
For more information on Mark and his law firm, go to speaktomark.com. We will be right back.
Closed captioning provided by
What's going on, guys? So Al and I any one of us can argue, even if like a very important lawyer's on, like Mark Eiglar's. I think a lot of people have a feeling of what is the amount and percentage of responsibility for Travis Scott. And Al and I just have fundamentally different takes on if you hold the microphone and you've been arrested before for inciting riots and you tweeted out, hey, let's let the wild ones in, you owe more of the pie than, let's say, someone who was on, not doing all those things. So it adds up. It all adds up. So in a court of law, it's like a pie. Why am I so hungry for pie? But it's like you add the milk, the flour. You got to put all that in. You put his tweets in. You put his arrests in. And Al and I just fundamentally disagree about who has the responsibility. So we love each other, but we just disagree.
Hey, Doc, do you go to the hospital like that and you just put a jacket on? Heads up. We went a little long there.
Too long?
In your medical opinion, what's worse,
Oh,
that
stop, Jeff.
or the flu?
We're just going to talk about the Aaron Rodgers issue. talk about today. We'll save the other one for the next one.
So I could follow up with that same question?
Yeah. Hi. Are we on? Okay, good. So I thought Al and I got into a great debate, and something that Al brought up that I thought of, but I think I really need to understand is, because I've been to Wu-Tang shows too, where they tell people, because all of a sudden you're seeing rap and hip hop shows start to adopt a lot of the punk rock mentality of like moshing and crowd surfing, and I think that came from Fred Durst and
Yeah, I mean, it's.
But I never took into consideration, I want to give you some props here, 50,000 people compared to 1,500 people.
Yeah, it's just tough. And I mean, if somebody's been on stage just in front of a couple thousand people, if you're at a theater, like a confined theater, you can maybe only see the first 2.5 rows, and then the rest is just complete blackness. So I'm sure that periods where lights are going, but I'm sure he's trying to entertain.
Oh yeah, believe me, I have.
It's a bad precedent to set, you know?
Yeah.
So because we don't have much time.
Welcome back to DBL. We are so glad to have our Dr. Coley here with us because we've been debating about this next topic, and a lot of our viewers just want to hear the facts. So we got the person, the expert, to give us the facts. We want Dr. Coley's take on Aaron Rodgers, as he recently revealed that the reason he didn't get vaccinated, and there's a number of reasons. So what's your take on someone who is spreading misinformation on his level?
You know, before I give you the facts, I'm going to rant a little bit because
Please.
I am pissed off, and I think I speak for the entire
Our
medical
executive producer
community.
just cringed.
I love it.
I'm just mad.
I love it.
Like, we're fighting a deadly virus. We've got a global pandemic that we're trying to take down. We're trying to develop science at warp speed, develop a vaccine in really record time to try to get our lives back to normal. And then you have the villain. You have people like Aaron Rodgers or Joe Rogan who have these platforms, and because they want to increase their followers, they're turning science on its head and promoting misinformation. And now we have to fight that, in addition to fighting the virus and dealing with the science.
But, go
Give
ahead.
us the facts,
Please,
though, because I know a lot of people are saying he mentioned infertility.
Yeah.
He mentioned, please just let our viewers know what the facts are.
Yeah, so he started by saying that he might be allergic to polyethylene glycol, which is part of the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccine, but not part of J&J. But the chance of being allergic to that is 11 people out of 1 million. So even if you give him that, let's say he's one of those 11, there is data from the American College of Allergy and Immunology that people with PEG allergies, polyethylene glycol allergies, can still get the vaccine. So that number one reason doesn't hold up. Number two reason, he's worried about fertility. Okay, well, where does that come from? There's no evidence that it causes any issues with fertility. In fact, the opposite. Getting the virus has been known to impact male fertility because there are receptors for the virus on the male reproductive organs.
How about if you're going through like IVF, and this is personal to me because I have friends, they come see a doctor here in Denver, he's a specialist, and again, I'm not having another baby. This is for a friend. There are concerns because they spend tens of thousands of dollars trying to get pregnant and they don't want to put something else in their body. So I've had this conversation and they're like, I'm not going to do this right now because we're trying to get pregnant. What would you say to them?
I would say the most important thing to ensure the success of your pregnancy is going to be to get yourselves vaccinated, because we know that women who get pregnant and are unvaccinated or unboosted have a much higher risk of losing the baby, of preterm labor, of birth defects, and of mom having complications as well. So you're putting all this money in. Don't you want to make sure that you set yourself up for success? And the time to do it is before you get pregnant. So that's number one. Number two, I know people worry that anything could affect their chances of getting pregnant, but scientifically, you're actually making the embryo in a petri dish and injecting it. So it's the risk of the vaccine. It doesn't exist because it's much different than the natural process of getting pregnant, which maybe hormonal fluctuations can affect.
It's interesting how, like, one part of science you're committed to, right? Which is like the fertility treatment, the IVF, but then the other part of
always
science.
this duality of thought. You're right.
Yeah, you're shunning. I don't understand it. Like, do we trust doctors? Do we not trust doctors?
I think there's an irrational fear when it comes to pregnancy and babies, and because you have so much invested, like Jeff said, emotionally, financially, in every way, you forget to think about logic. You forget to embrace that science. So I'm glad you brought that up, Sam.
We gotta consult with our doctors always, and we always have Dr. Coley here, so thank goodness for that. If you have a question you want answered by our Dr. Coley, daily. Write us on social media. You can email info@dailybosslive.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Coley, as always. We'll be right back.
There.
Aaron Rodgers missed Sunday's Green Bay Packers game after testing positive for COVID-19. But that wasn't the only reason he was a trending topic on Twitter and Google. Over the summer, Rodgers said he was immunized, but then confirmed he was not vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, there are questions whether he was following the NFL's COVID-19 protocols and what kind of punishment he could face from the league. The NFL doesn't require players to get a COVID-19 vaccine, but unvaccinated players have different rules they must follow. So, let's verify. Can a player be fined for violating COVID-19 protocols? Our sources are NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy and the COVID-19 protocols established by the League and Players Association. If they don't get a jab, NFL players must follow strict rules, including getting regularly tested, wearing a mask more often, and limiting some activities in their personal lives. If players don't follow the rules, they face disciplinary action, which in some cases means a fine. For example, all players who refuse testing face a fine of $50,000, and unvaccinated players who refuse to wear a mask in their team's facilities can be fined nearly $15,000. Repeat offenders could be fined up to a week's pay and be suspended for up to 4 weeks without pay. So it's true, players and teams can be fined for violating the league's COVID-19 protocols, and it's happened before. Last season, the New Orleans Saints and Las Vegas Raiders were fined for not following the rules, along with some individual Raiders players. League spokesman Brian McCarthy says the NFL is investigating whether Rodgers and the Packers were following the rules. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. Imagine being a walking, talking miracle. Our next guest survived not one gunshot to the head, but 4, all by the hand of the person she loved. The violence did not stop or start there. We will take you through this incredible story of Kimya Motley and how she escaped abuse. Now, a warning to our viewers, some may find this disturbing.
My name is Kimya Motley, and I am the Director of Communications at A Call to Men, an organization that teaches men and boys in an effort to end violence against all women and girls. But I did not get here in a conventional way. Once upon a time, I was a teacher surrounded by 4-year-olds. I was teaching pre-K, and I thought that I would live out the rest of my career as an educator. But something pretty amazing happened to me to change the whole trajectory of my career. And by amazing, I do not mean that in a great way. I met and married the man that I thought would be the man of my dreams. We were married 4 years, but after 1 year of marriage, he became very abusive in every way. I grew up in a home where domestic violence was prevalent. And because I saw this growing up, it became normalized to me. Now, there were warning signs that came in the very beginning of the relationship, but because I wouldn't know how to recognize what those warning signs were, I went right past the red flags and began a relationship with him. My ex-husband was such a great listener. As a matter of fact, I often say I gave him the blueprint to my deception. Honestly, I left because his abuse turned towards my son. And that's when I made the decision, okay, this relationship cannot go on. On September 20th, 2011, I went to go drop my daughter off at daycare. My ex-husband was actually 3 hours away from me, staying at his parents' home. He stole his mother's car. See, I just asked him for a divorce. When I arrived at the daycare center, he ambushed us. He shot me in my face, in my neck, in the back of my head, and in my back with a .38. And he did not stop there. He went on to shoot my then 10-year-old daughter one time at point blank range in the head. We were not expected to live.
What a miraculous backstory, Kimia. We are so glad you're here, you're okay. Neither you nor your daughter were expected to live, and I was wondering what the recovery process was like physically for both of you, but also emotionally.
Well, honestly, it's a journey when you're trying to recover from something like that. You know, initially I was in the hospital only 1 week, and they thought that I would be in the hospital for months. We did have to, of course, go through counseling, and my daughter's recovery, she was in the hospital for 5 weeks. Wow. She had to learn how to walk again, talk again, feed herself, read, write, everything all over again. We're even thinking about, you know, going back to counseling now. Yeah. Like it's been 10 years, but sometimes, you know, things may trigger you or whatever. So we go back in like it's our tune-up, you know, like you said with your car or whatever, because it's so, your mental health is so important.
Well said.
Kimia, I love your spirit.
I know.
I mean, it's just amazing. Can you take us through some of the warning signs or red flags of an abusive partner?
If they have sweeping romantic gestures, that could be a red flag. If they are rushing you into commitment and then beginning to isolate you, like with my ex-husband, immediately he began saying things like, your friends are not there for you, your family is not here for you, you know, I'm the only one that's here for you. And then this is a weird one, but kind of placing you on a pedestal. You want to be told that you're beautiful and you're awesome and, you know, all of this stuff. But when they place you on that pedestal, it gives a lot of room for you to fall. But if the person you're dating has few friends or maybe none at all, that's a huge red flag.
And if you can speak directly to their mothers, fathers, caretakers of young boys in this moment, what would you say?
Well, at A Call to Men, we teach a lot about something that we call the man box. However, this box sets the groundwork for women and people that are marginalized to be hurt, but it's also dangerous for our boys as well. So as our sons are growing up, it's important for their moms, their parents, whomever, to show them warm love. It's okay to give our sons hugs and kisses. That's not just for daughters. It's okay for them to cry. It's part of the natural cycle of things. Let them cry. And then they need to be able to try new things. Try new things that are not caught up with traditional gender roles. Like, if you know, our sons need to know how to cook and clean and do all those things that are traditionally supposed to be things set aside for just girls. And then I would finally say, encourage them to be kind, bold, and brave.
Wow. Kimia, I can't get over you. You're unbelievable. I mean, your daughter's so lucky to have you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us and our viewers. Now, DBL Nation, if you or anyone you know is suffering from domestic violence, take a screenshot, visit this site below. We are also going to have a link on our website and our social medias. You can create a safety plan and get a copy of Kimia's memoir, Born of Violence. We love it. We can't wait to spread the news. Head over to Amazon, get your book, get prepared, get ready, and give back like the beautiful Kimia. Thank you so much for your advocacy and help. We'll be right back.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
The United Nations is hosting a summit this week to discuss the world's top climate issues, including deforestation. Some social media posts suggest choosing certain brands of chocolate could help make a difference because cocoa farmers often cut down all other types of trees to keep up with growing demand. So let's verify. Is cocoa production causing deforestation? Our sources are the environmental advocacy group Mighty Earth, the World Cocoa Foundation's Director of Environment, and 3 of the largest chocolate companies in the world. The concern about deforestation begins with where and how cocoa is grown. Cocoa plants thrive near the equator, and the World Cocoa Foundation estimates Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana produce 2/3 of the world's supply of cocoa. But to keep up with demand and expand cocoa crops, farmers often cut down all other types of trees. The WCF estimates Côte d'Ivoire lost 1/4 of its forest since 2001.
And cocoa has been a major driver of that deforestation. In order to maintain their livelihoods, they'll abandon their old and diseased farms and expand into new areas, very often being forested areas, resulting in deforestation.
But since this isn't a new issue, environmentalists have long pressured chocolate companies to buy sustainable cocoa and pay farmers better, so they're incentivized to do less damage to forests. In 2017, a partnership between the industry, governments, the World Cocoa Foundation, and other stakeholders started to address this by planting 10 million new trees, promoting more sustainable production, and increasing traceability. Nestle and Mars committed to buying only deforestation-free cocoa by 2025, and Hershey plans to eliminate deforestation from its entire supply chain by 2030. So it's true, cocoa production is causing deforestation, but organizations say you can help by opting for sustainably produced chocolate. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
College enrollment is down, way down. Fewer folks are signing up for classes across the board, whether it be community college, undergraduate, or graduate programs. Overall, enrollment is down 3.5%. And when you look at just students going to college straight out of high school, that's a 7% drop. The National Student Clearinghouse says we haven't seen a dip this big in more than 50 years. Community college enrollment is down about 15% in the last 2 years. Researchers say this is troubling since community colleges often enroll more low-income students and students of color. Usually, when we're coming out of a recession, college enrollments go up so folks can learn new skills to fill open jobs. That hasn't been the case this time around. The pandemic meant when the economy was recovering and more people usually go to school, recent high school grads went straight for the jobs instead. If more people aren't going to college, then there are fewer skilled workers available to hire, and the economy suffers long term. And that's connecting the dots.
If you are leaving us, you can watch the second half of the show online, but if you're sticking around, here's what's coming up. Did Pete Davidson just address the romance rumors with Kim, the clip that everyone is talking about? Plus, Jeff Bezos' girlfriend is caught on camera fawning over Leonardo DiCaprio. His reaction after the break.
Thanksgiving travel could be even more of a hassle this year. Let's connect the dots. Right now, airports are seeing staffing issues across nearly every position. One of the places most in need of workers? Airport security. And those lines could get even longer starting next month. All federal employees, including the TSA, are now required to get the COVID vaccine, but only about 60% of TSA employees are currently vaccinated. And the deadline for them to roll up their sleeves is November 22nd, which is just 3 days before Thanksgiving. Now, the head of the TSA says he is hopeful this won't lead to a shortage of airport screeners for the holiday, but he does admit they are working on a backup plan in case a large part of their workforce is suddenly off the job. And many airlines are also weighing the same issue. American and Southwest are currently backing up plans to punish unvaccinated employees, saying they won't be fired or suspended right away. So what should you do if you're traveling this Turkey Day? Show up at the airport with several hours to spare and try to travel as early in the week as you can. That way you have some wiggle room if something goes wrong. I'm Audrey Castoreno, and that's Connecting the Dots.
This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Oh my gosh.
Are you insane?
This is a sham.
No.
Nope.
Y'all just
It's
stop.
finally here. Drum roll.
Welcome to DBL. I'm Sam here with Jeff, Al, and Tori. So, he may be the richest man in the world, but Jeff Bezos can still get his ego bruised. Check out this video that was shared on Twitter of Jeff Bezos' girlfriend looking up at Leonardo DiCaprio appearing, well, a bit smitten. The video has gone viral with Leo being labeled Mr. Steal Your Girl. Leo also appears to be standing on something because he's only 3 inches taller than Jeff. Bezos took note and posted this photo on Twitter, posing with a sign that said, "Danger, steep cliff, fatal drop." He captioned it with, "Leo, come over here. I want to show you something."
I think
good one.
The best thing, you know what though, Jeff?
He's
the
trying to
best
be
thing,
funny.
no, he's trying to be funny because there's a little bit of truth there. I don't think that he wants to kill Leonardo DiCaprio, but he wouldn't be making a joke if something didn't happen. There would be no joke to be made. But the fact is, his girl, Sam, his woman, his partner, was way out of pocket. Way out of pocket.
I gotta
Like,
agree
you
with
cannot be smiling like that when you are with your significant other. I just think that there are lines and boundaries with personal respect, and I would be out of pocket too if I did that with my.
Not only was it googly eyes, she kind of like she leaned
And then
in.
Sam,
She
when he
almost
moved,
touched him
she
with her
moved
chest.
with him. They moved in when he backed up because he was uncomfortable, and she moved as
Can
well.
we see it again? There's almost a chest bump.
Now
You
watch.
see that?
He's gonna
almost
move.
bumps him with her chest.
He's gonna move, and look, she's right behind him. Like,
She's like, wait, I'm coming with you.
It's like love bubbles are coming out of her eyes.
It can't happen.
It's not right.
Those heart
bubbles.
The heart emojis. Yeah. What do you
Listen.
think, Jeff? How would you feel if Jordan was like that with
I don't
Leo?
blame her. It's Leonardo DiCaprio. I might have given him a little chest bump. You know what I mean?
She could sneak a peek, but she would not disrespect you and be like that.
I agree with you, Jeff Bezos. Like, he was a little hurt about it because all the
It went
money in the
viral.
world can't buy you happiness, right? Some people are like, yeah, I'd be much happier. It definitely doesn't make you look like Leonardo DiCaprio.
Right.
So there you go. All the money in the world, you're still not Leonardo
What if he was
DiCaprio.
just trying to be light about it and was being funny?
No, he was hurt.
I think it went too viral for him.
And I think it's okay for you to be hurt by that.
yeah.
That's a little disrespectful. Sam, would you care?
What?
But if your partner did
No,
that?
I'm in Jeff's boat. If Mark and I were like out and about and some gorgeous, like if like Halle Berry walked by him and Mark was like, Halle, I'd be like, I don't blame you, buddy. I
Really?
don't.
Wow.
Well, it's not like it's, oh, come on, Al.
That can't happen, man.
Yeah, right.
You don't want to
Give me
set
a
that
break.
precedent.
Oh, it's fine. All right. Well, I guess when you've been together as long as Jeff and I have been, we're just like, right?
Listen, I'm already. That's all you. That's all you.
Pete Davidson addressed those Kim Kardashian dating rumors, sort of. During an appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers, Seth appeared to give Pete the chance to come clean about his relationship with Kim. Well, take a listen to what he said.
There's a lot of people I walk by, people are like whispering and, making eyes at me. And, but it is true. I do have a show on Tubi coming out. Yeah. The Tubi. A lot of people are shocked that I could get on a show like Tubi.
Kind of danced around it.
Yeah, I do have to say something publicly. I do owe you a sandwich. They are rumored to be lightly dating.
Yeah,
and
they are.
Why just Jeff? I said
We
it as
all
well.
said it.
And we have multiple clips.
First of all,
I have bet a sandwich, and I'm trying to own up to the fact that I thought...
No. You're going to get shamed for like 4 minutes straight.
Okay.
You told me while I sat over there, I'm like, Tori, I think they're together. You go, I promise. And you scolded me. I promise. I promise.
I felt
They
like
are
you were
not
a
together.
kid.
You did.
She was scolding me and pointing at me like a child.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
And now you're sandwich shopping. But it needs to be for all of us.
It needs to be 3 sandwiches.
Okay, 3 sandwiches. I'll get the vegan. I'll get everything
Yes.
ready.
And the apology?
And the apology. I also apologize. Do I think he's going to be...
No.
I
The apology.
apologize for saying it patronizingly and for also being wrong. But I will say this. I don't see Pete Davidson as like North stepdad. I see this
no
as
one
a
said that.
rebound. I know,
but the
and I
thing is-
apologize.
They're having a good time.
They're having a good
But why are you guys just leaving it? They're just having a good time because on paper they don't make sense. But I would think the person you end up with, a lot of times you guys don't make sense on paper, but the chemistry is just there. Why is it that crazy that two people that are in entertainment have kind of had tumultuous, parts of their life, have kind of come out of that and are looking for something stable? why couldn't they last?
I don't know if he wants 4 stepkids. That's a lot to take
You're
on.
not allowed to talk about this anymore.
Fair.
You lost your privileges.
All right,
next story.
So, Jeff's buddy Lance Bass had a pretty amazing reaction to something recently. All right, I want each of you to guess, okay, as to what he is surprised by. So first, I want you guys to all guess. Tori, what do you think he's so surprised by?
He just saw Pete Davidson in the shower. I'm just kidding.
There is a rumor about that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was good.
That was good.
Really,
That was good.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, your turn.
I want to say
You know him.
I don't know what happened, but
What do you think?
I want to say it's something to do with his kids, but I was going to guess like the godparent of his kids, but that's way too excited. Maybe like JT's the godparent. I don't know.
Okay, all right, Justin Timberlake. What about you?
The only thing I thought about when I saw this is weird is like, you know, when people find out about their backgrounds, like Morgan Freeman finds out. So like maybe he found out like he's related to somebody famous.
Oh.
Something.
All right.
Something, like it's got to be something to get that face.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah?
Yes.
I swear I haven't.
You really don't know?
I swear on my grandmother I have not looked at this. I swear.
Wow. Are we still talking about Pete?
Yeah.
Good one. Okay, Lance and his husband were on the Ancestry show, 2 Lies and a Leaf, where Lance found out something shocking about his family history.
Wait, that's right.
Point.
Yes.
Watch.
And the answer is B. Britney Spears.
Are you kidding me? I don't care about losing because this is amazing.
I know, I guess you really are the true winner here.
Oh my gosh. Wait, how am I related to Britney Spears?
Britney is your 6th cousin once removed. Boom.
First of all, the whole once removed, twice removed is so confusing, but very cool. But I don't understand it.
Nobody does. No, it's like the cloud. What is it? We don't know. We don't know.
Do you understand that whole once removed, twice removed?
Is that through marriage?
It's the thing.
I don't know if we should do that live on TV.
Okay, so we can put that aside. What would you do?
Michael Dean was shaking his head. He thinks it's through marriage.
I thought it was children or something.
What do you think about your buddy Lance now being related to Britney?
You're dropping that line a lot. I haven't talked to Lance in a minute.
Oh, well, I thought.
He's my buddy. He's my buddy.
I'm sorry, you went to his wedding.
I know, but you said it like 3 times.
Yeah, because I was hoping you'd have an inside scoop. You knew we were doing this story today, right?
We also knew we were doing the story where Tori was wrong, and we didn't get any video of that.
So no inside scoop. Okay.
No inside scoop. Yeah, I guessed wrong. I thought it was going to be something about their.
What would you do if you found out you were related to Leonardo DiCaprio? Would you call and be like, hey, yo, I'm your 8th cousin twice removed?
Cuz.
Does it lose something after the first cousin?
Yeah.
Whenever somebody says that's my second cousin, I'd be like, you don't know that.
I think
no one knows their second cousin.
You can like marry your 3rd cousin, can't you? It's like what? No, I just mean it's.
You can marry your first cousin.
Yeah, 6th cousin once removed is pretty
So the
far.
once removed, I was just told by Courtney, our producer, that it means 1 generation.
I still don't get it.
How do you not get it? 1 generation separates you two. Second removed means 2 generations separate you two. All right. Did you know that I recently found out that we're Jewish, my family?
No.
From one of the heritage.
Why are we just finding this out? That's
I've
awesome.
told Tori. I've told Sharon.
The Jews.
The 2 Jewish. Yay, Sharon!
Wow.
Oh my
I'm going right to HR.
My husband
Soon
is
as this,
Jewish.
how many more minutes,
I
Jeff?
really knew my dad's
Me and Jeff will be in
history.
HR in 23 minutes.
welcome you.
My
We welcome
dad's
you.
side, we found out, is Jewish, and I'm very proud.
Shalom.
Now thank you. Yeah. So.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
Hey, Al, guess what I just found out? What's up, homie?
Hey, that's not fair, you guys.
I'm saying congratulations.
I just wanted to share it with Tori and Sharon. 1, because they're very close to me. 2, so I could learn more about my heritage.
I think that's awesome.
Thank you very much. Okay, a new poll found that some pet owners can go a little overboard with their fur babies. The study looked at 2,000 pet owners and found that 97% said they always let their pet lick or kiss them. 22% said they share their food at the dinner table with their pets.
Ew.
2 out of 3 people let their pets jump on the furniture, and nearly 60% said their furry friend has their own spot on the couch. But get this, 6% admit to taking baths or bathing with their pet. Tori, you love your dogs. Have you ever done the above?
I've done several. Okay, before I judge, let me explain. Some people have children. Right now, I don't. I have fur children. They're really important to me. They're rescues. They're old. They're like aging. One's got 3 legs. So I take really good care of them. They give me a lot of comfort. And in response, I learned about responsibility, empathy, taking a walk, exercise, getting some sunlight. I came out of a depression with my dog, so I really appreciate this. I get close. I get a little close.
Beautifully said. Even Sierra over there was nodding her head in agreement.
Okay, thank you. This is me and my dogs. That's Josie, right? She almost died, and she came back. This is us at a sunset together. She doesn't look that interested.
Over it. How many pictures did you send in?
9.
I had a baby, and I had 1.
Wow, she did send
This
in a
can
bunch.
go overboard, though,
We
Sam.
did do the bath the other day, and that was the first we've ever done it, and I did
You
not.
got in the bath.
Listen, hold up. There's context, because I also don't agree with that. Now, the dog does sleep with me in bed, blah, blah, blah. Always sleeps with Sophie, by the way. Let's take a look at Scruffy and
Scruff
Sophie.
Muffin.
There is Scruff Muffin, but look at Scruff and Soph. Always sleep together, those two. 2 peas in a pod. So we were in the bathtub together. Yes, I do take a bath with Miles and Sophie because Miles is still little, and I need to hold him. Sophie's right here. We have a big tub. And Scruffy, bless her little heart, sits right by the tub and waits for us. Well, Scruffy jumped up to the side, and Sophie was like, "Can Scruffy please come in?" And I said, "No, Sophie, that's not right." So then at the end of the bath, I said, "Sure." Scruffy jumped right in. We gave Scruffy a little bath too. Then Scruffy went out. I kind of like washed her down, and then I took like the shower head and I re-rinsed off Sophie and Miles. So I did, I feel like, do it the right way.
You multitask.
Yeah.
I did it the right way.
It's a great story to show that you've just taught your daughters that boundaries don't exist.
What do you mean?
Boundaries are there for a reason. That's why there are no animals in the tub. There's no animals at the table, all right? Boundaries, all right? I'm sorry. There's a difference between man and beast. You're down there when I'm done. Beast. They're animals.
Wow.
They're animals.
Beast.
They're not eating at the table with me or getting in the tub.
Well, at least we know what clip we're going to send in for our Emmy clip right there. Sam's tub story with Scruff.
Coming up on DBL, you know him from Law and Order and Full Metal Jacket. Vincent D'Onofrio is here live. Do not go away. We are back with him in just minutes.
Closed captioning provided by
From the new movie he's promoting, it's Sandra Bullock is in it. She's a star. Sandra, sorry. Sandra Bullock, Unforgivable. Okay, so we're gonna bump in with
He's from Full Metal Jacket, and he said, "I want Sugar Water," the alien in Men in Black. Do you guys remember him? That's who we're interviewing.
Right. And then we'll go into, this is a heavy movie. She goes to prison for murder. She's unreleased. But anything fun happened with Viola on set? He has a story about how it was COVID and they got shut down, and then when he came back, he couldn't touch Viola, who was his wife.
Oh,
that was very weird.
That's
right?
interesting.
So,
Yeah.
That's what he's going to talk about. Then we're going to talk to him about all of his iconic roles that he's had, and when he's out on the street, is there something is he more recognizable for one? He is. He'll tell you that.
The alien.
Don't tell us. Don't tell us.
I know. You'll see.
Sugar water.
But if he doesn't, he has a great story about something that just happened to him recently with a fan.
Okay, cool.
If he
I
doesn't
like
go
those.
into it, ask him.
Okay.
But I'm sure he will.
Megan kicks butt at
And
this.
then we're going to ask him if he's going to come back for this comic book thing. We're going to ask him about his role on Jerry Falwell.
So I follow up with that Kingpin?
Yes. And then the last question we're doing is about his daughter, Layla George,
Who is divorced from Champagne.
getting a divorce from Sean
Isn't that
Penn.
crazy?
He's very private. He says he will answer it, but he doesn't.
I'm not trying to make tabloidy about
We're not
it.
trying
Totally.
to do that. We're just wondering how she's doing.
Remember
and then we're
when-
going to promote the movie at the
Remember when he goes
Okay,
like this?
great.
Okay.
Got it.
Your
Thank
skin's
you.
falling off.
Thank you guys.
Your skin's falling off your face. What was his name in that movie?
What is it? Edgar!
Your skin's falling off, Edgar. Your skin's falling off your face.
What's that from?
Men in Black. I want sugar water.
Edgar in that.
It is. Isn't
It was
it?
Hyde.
Hyde?
Hyde.
No, it's Edgar and Bug. It is Edgar. You were just making up something.
No, his name's like Hyde, or like a.
You sound like you don't know.
No, it was not Edgar.
It is. I'm looking at the internet web.
She's right.
Edgar.
life starts here now, not 20 years ago.
She did her time.
She killed somebody in cold blood. If that were any of your black sons who had been in this system, they would be dead.
Wow, who deserves a second chance? Sandra Bullock's new movie, The Unforgivable, tests that very question. And today we are joined by one of the film's stars. Please welcome to the show the mesmerizing force that is Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yeah.
Vincent, welcome to the show.
Hey, everyone.
Hey. Oh, so first and foremost, we're all big fans here. You're so talented. And the remarkable Viola Davis, very talented as well, plays your wife in this movie. But this is actually the second time you two have worked together. How was this experience different from the time that you guys worked on Law & Order together?
It was much more, I guess, intimate is the way to say it. We got to know each other a little bit. Back in the day when I was doing Law & Order, everything, you know, we worked so much, Kate Irby and I. And so when the guest stars would come in, we would spend a little time with them, but not a lot of time. Whereas with a movie, it's a completely different set to be on. And so it was really nice. You know, she's such an amazing lady. And also, as you know, she's just an incredible actress. So just to hang out with her and talk with her and play her husband in something was fantastic.
All right, well, Vince, obviously, this is a heavy movie, and we've been hearing a lot of bad stuff from sets, but I'm hoping you have some fun stories from set involving Viola.
Well, the most strange thing about the whole thing was we were doing it when we went back to we had to stop when COVID happened in March, and then we had to take a break, and then we went back, and when we went back, it was Netflix is one of the first companies to come up with how to do it and how to do it right and safely, you know, so we had to wear masks and shields and stuff. But Viola and I had never done a scene together yet. We didn't play husband and wife yet. So now we find ourselves on a set wearing masks and shields for rehearsal, and you're only allowed to take them off when when the camera's rolling for real. But so that was like, we were wondering, like, how are we going to do this? Like, we can't, like, at that point, you couldn't even touch, you know, you couldn't. So we had to figure out a kind of looks between us and just a kind of vibe rather than, you know, because when you leave a house, like if there's a scene where you're with your husband or with your wife and you have to leave the house, I mean, I usually kiss my wife goodbye or whatever, you know, but we couldn't do anything like that. We couldn't even, you know, touch really. It was pretty crazy. Yeah, it was strange for both of us, and it was funny.
Got to be tough for an actor. So can I call you Vince or is it Vincent? What do you prefer? Al just assumed
you can call him anything you like.
Al just said Vince like he knew
I really did. Like we've been hanging out for years.
Yeah.
I feel close to him. I've been looking at him for
but
years.
What if he doesn't prefer Vince?
It's actually, it's actually Vincent, but I don't make a big deal about it.
Yeah, that was a little dig at you, Al.
I deserved it.
We're going to make a big deal about it.
We're kidding, Vincent.
So, Vincent,
go ahead, make a big deal.
You've had some iconic roles from Law & Order to Full Metal Jacket to Kingpin. So when you're out on the street, which one is the most recognizable to fans? What do you get most?
It depends on the age, you know. Like if anybody in the military, any age they are, it's Full Metal Jacket, yeah. And anybody in their from 20 to 30 is Kingpin, and then everybody is Law & Order. So. Yeah, those are the ones. I would say right now the most popular is Kingpin for that certain age group.
I don't understand why we don't have sugar water for you. No one gets you for Men in Black.
That wasn't bad, actually.
Thank
that was pretty good.
Sir.
You really committed to that, Tori. I'm impressed. That could have gone really bad.
I have butterflies in my stomach.
Yeah.
I have vocal work.
Like that might be the end of our show.
Okay, here we go. Your daughter, Layla George, has recently made headlines regarding her divorce from Sean Penn. Divorce we take really seriously, and it's difficult, and we're honest and nuanced here on the show, especially though when it's made publicized like theirs. Just wanted to know how she's doing, how she's handling the extra eyes all on her.
She's great. I mean, I'm really lucky to have a daughter like Layla. You know, she's a fabulous woman, and you know, the story is not really about their love life because I'm a dad, and I have to stay out of that stuff.
Yes, sir.
I just know that my daughter is a level-headed woman, and she's going to do what she wants to do as a woman in this world. So the real story is that. The real story is that what kind of woman she is, which it's pretty amazing.
Wow. Good dad.
Jeff is a little watchy.
Yeah. That was beautiful.
Jeff's a father, so
yeah,
you
it's
hit him right
beautiful
in
to
the
hear a
heart.
father talk like that.
Yeah,
it
is. It's very admirable. Vincent.
And thanks for skipping over Jeff like I'm not a father of 3.
Because you were.
Al's seen his kids a few times, pictures and the like.
Albert, I was responding to that. Jeff had tears in his eyes.
Okay, maybe my tears are on the inside.
Okay.
My tears were the embarrassment for Tori when she said sugar walk.
Okay. Vincent, thank you for your time. Thank you for putting up with us.
Yes.
The Unforgivable drops
you
on
guys
Netflix.
are great.
Thank you. On December 10th, but will be released in limited theaters this month. Vincent, thank you again for joining us. We'll
Appreciate
be right
you,
back.
brother. Thank you.
Bye.
Your insurance market.
Aaron Rodgers missed Sunday's Green Bay Packers game after testing positive for COVID-19. But that wasn't the only reason he was a trending topic on Twitter and Google. Over the summer, Rodgers said he was immunized, but then confirmed he was not vaccinated against COVID-19. Now, there are questions whether he was following the NFL's COVID-19 protocols and what kind of punishment he could face from the league. The NFL doesn't require players to get a COVID-19 vaccine, but unvaccinated players have different rules they must follow. So, let's verify. Can a player be fined for violating COVID-19 protocols? Our sources are NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy and the COVID-19 protocols established by the League and Players Association. If they don't get a jab, NFL players must follow strict rules, including getting regularly tested, wearing a mask more often, and limiting some activities in their personal lives. If players don't follow the rules, they face disciplinary action, which in some cases means a fine. For example, all players who refuse testing face a fine of $50,000, and unvaccinated players who refuse to wear a mask in their team's facilities can be fined nearly $15,000. Repeat offenders could be fined up to a week's pay and be suspended for up to 4 weeks without pay. So it's true. Players and teams can be fined for violating the league's COVID-19 protocols, and it's happened before. Last season, the New Orleans Saints and Las Vegas Raiders were fined for not following the rules, along with some individual Raiders players. League spokesman Brian McCarthy says the NFL is investigating whether Rodgers and the Packers were following the rules. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
Welcome back to DBL. You may not believe how widespread identity theft really is. It's time for a security alert sponsored by LifeLock. So during the pandemic, identity theft rose by a whopping 45%. It turns out social media users are 30% more likely to have their identity stolen. So if you have a Facebook account, make sure you're not sharing personal info online. Most people won't ever think about getting their identity stolen, but the effects have a lasting impact on victims, and you're at a higher risk than you think. If your information has been breached, LifeLock is here to help. LifeLock keeps you and your digital identity secure from cyber criminals. So call 1-800-419-0131 or visit lifelock.com to learn more. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Are you...
Nations is hosting a summit this week to discuss the world's top climate issues, including deforestation. Some social media posts suggest choosing certain brands of chocolate could help make a difference because cocoa farmers often cut down all other types of trees to keep up with growing demand. So let's verify. Is cocoa production causing deforestation? Our sources are the environmental advocacy group Mighty Earth, the World Cocoa Foundation's Director of Environment, and 3 of the largest chocolate companies in the world. The concern about deforestation begins with where and how cocoa is grown. Cocoa plants thrive near the equator, and the World Cocoa Foundation estimates Côte d'Ivoire and Ghana produce 2/3 of the world's supply of cocoa. But to keep up with demand and expand cocoa crops, farmers often cut down all other types of trees. The WCF estimates Côte d'Ivoire lost 1/4 of its forest since 2001.
And cocoa has been a major driver of that deforestation. In order to maintain their livelihoods, they'll abandon their old and diseased farms and expand into new areas. very often being forested areas, resulting in deforestation.
But since this isn't a new issue, environmentalists have long pressured chocolate companies to buy sustainable cocoa and pay farmers better, so they're incentivized to do less damage to forests. In 2017, a partnership between the industry, governments, the World Cocoa Foundation, and other stakeholders started to address this by planting 10 million new trees, promoting more sustainable production, and increasing traceability. Nestle and Mars committed to buying only deforestation-free cocoa by 2025, and Hershey plans to eliminate deforestation from its entire supply chain by 2030. So it's true, cocoa production is causing deforestation, but organizations say you can help by opting for sustainably produced chocolate. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis.
College enrollment is down, way down. Fewer folks are signing up for classes across the board, whether it be community college, undergraduate, or graduate programs. Overall, enrollment is down 3.5%. And when you look at just students going to college straight out of high school, that's a 7% drop. The National Student Clearinghouse says we haven't seen a dip this big in more than 50 years. Community college enrollment is down about 15% in the last 2 years. Researchers say this is troubling since community colleges often enroll more low-income students and students of color. Usually, when we're coming out of a recession, college enrollments go up so folks can learn new skills to fill open jobs. That hasn't been the case this time around. The pandemic meant when the economy was recovering and more people usually go to school, recent high school grads went straight for the jobs instead. If more people aren't going to college, then there are fewer skilled workers available to hire, and the economy suffers long term. And that's connecting the dots.
Tomorrow on DBL, beauty care products will promise you the fountain of youth, but is there really a facelift in a bottle? We're uncovering the truth live in studio. And on an all-new True Crime Chronicles, a teenage girl goes missing in the middle of the night, why her 13-year-old case is only now getting national coverage.
She could be in another country, anywhere. Oh, this world's so big.
That's tomorrow on DBL.
Welcome back to DBL. Tori, comments?
People were saying how sexy Vincent D'Onofrio still is.
Yeah.
There's something about him.
Did they say anything about me and Jeff?
No. No, but I'm saying, and a lot of people are saying, is it CSI? He was on Law and Order Criminal Intent, for all of you asking. And I
know what's so sexy about him, that quiet confidence. He pauses before he talks, something I don't
And
do.
also he has $70 million in the bank. That too, that helps.
Sugar water.
That's not cool.
That helps.
Not cool.
He told a sweet story about his daughter.
DBL is new every day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
Good point.